that myself because you have to. Hi, everybody.
I use StreamYard.
So I'm still waiting on some people, but Granny agreed to jump on here with me and keep everybody entertained for a while. I have an announcement to make. Sorry, I had my own stream going in the background. That messed me all up. So the announcement for you wonderful people who got in here on time is my best friend this morning just had a baby.
Congrats.
Really, really cute baby. And I'm going to show it off. Hold on. She is just adorable. Where is it? I clicked the button, I swear. Well, I'll fight with that for a minute. Granny, how was your SJ stream?
It was pretty good. It went well. We covered. Oh, there she is. So sweet.
Oh, look at the baby. She's beautiful. I'm so excited. These two are just such good parents, and they're just really just good people. And I love seeing good having babies because I know they're not going to mentally fuck them as they're growing up. So it's always a wonderful thing. Anyways, so yeah, SJ, how did that go?
Yeah, it went pretty well. We talked about a number of different topics. We talked primarily about the free will versus sovereignty of God, mostly. But we also touched on slavery. We touched on abortion. We touched on homosexuality. I hadn't planned on going to homosexuality until we started getting into morality, and she started saying that the Bible is our guide for morality, but at the same time she also was indicating that she was pretty liberal on a number of things. So I thought, gee, I wonder how she feels about gay marriage, and
right.
Her position on that was really kind of fuzzy, because she was saying, well, she doesn't have anything specifically against it, but the Bible clearly is against it. And she thinks the Bible is against it because the purpose of a family is to procreate, and a homosexual couple can't procreate. And I said, well, obviously we don't need any more people on earth right now. And she, okay, yeah. And I said, so gay marriage should be okay now, because if the whole purpose is to keep people procreating and we don't need people procreating, then why do we need any rules against gay marriage anymore? Well, God still doesn't like it.
which my brother would argue against. And by the way, I found oh crap, I should have saved it. I found a part of the Bible that said it was men talking about a woman, and they said, well, she can't come. And then God said, well, I'll just make her a man so she can. So what is that about trans? What? If God says it's okay to make a woman into a man, I don't see the problem with trans now.
I don't remember according to the Bible. That. I don't remember that.
Yeah. God, what was that? It was in if you look up it's quotes from what Jesus said from a certain hold on, I gotta think. I can't remember what section that was. I'll have to look it up, unless you want to look it up while we're BSing.
Oh, I can do that, but I'm looking at Robert X's comment. He says, "Don't lie, godless granny. It didn't go well. It was awesome."
Yes, yes, thank you, Robert. Yeah,
Thank you, Robert.
I was telling Granny before we came on that I missed her stream because I was out of cigarettes and stuff for coffee, so it was an emergency. I had to go into town, and it takes like 33 minutes there, 33 minutes back. So by the time I got back, you were already done. So I missed you by about 10 minutes. But yeah, I'm sure it was. I'll go back and watch it tonight after all is said and done. Well, I'm glad it went well. Was there anything she said that like blew your mind or
Oh, no.
stood out to you?
There's
No.
nothing that she said that I haven't heard 100 times before.
What topic were you guys on when you said you got her to start going into a circle on it?
Okay,
remember
that
what that
was
was?
that was on the question of God's sovereignty versus man's choice. You know, I
Okay.
asked her, you know, does man choose who goes to heaven, or does God choose? God chooses. Can man choose, you know, whether or not he goes to heaven? Yes, man chooses. Well, is man choosing or is God choosing? Well, man chooses if he wants to go to heaven, but God chooses based on what man's choice is. Well, then man is making the choice and not God, and God's not sovereign. No, God's sovereign because God can make God makes the choice, but he makes the choice based on what man chooses.
But no, but yeah, she went in a loop. She absolutely did.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
And yeah, I wasn't at all surprised at that, but I should have tried to break the loop by asking, okay, can God choose to reject a man that chooses him?
Right.
And that would have broken the loop, and that's where I should have gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if the answer is yes, God can choose to reject someone that chooses him, then man can't choose, God chooses.
Yeah,
and if
so
God
then there's no free will.
Right. And if God can't reject a man, then God isn't sovereign.
Right. Absolutely. So interesting. You know, I should ask my brother about that. If God cannot choose someone, or is it all inclusive, or does he? Because I've never broached that subject with him. I mean, I was telling you before we came live that speak of the devil.
He's in the chat.
I sent you an email. Look in your email. Yeah. So what he says is everybody's going, unless you actively believe and deny him. Is the only time there would be a problem.
That's pretty much where I ended up right before I went to atheism. Was, you know, when I gave up all of mainstream Christianity, that's where I went. Was that everyone goes to heaven and they meet God, and God says, "Do you want to come to heaven or not?" And that's when the choice is made, after you die and when you're face to face with God.
Oh, speaking of my brother, well, how appropriate that you would hop in here. We were just talking about her stream with SJ earlier.
None of this is an accident. I've been listening since the beginning of your stream, yeah. So I was sitting there just waiting to hit the button anyway.
Oh, all 8 minutes?
Yeah, all 8 minutes of it.
Okay, so what do you think about what Granny and SJ were talking about?
First, I have to give people an example of how much I'm an idiot. So the other day I missed the stream with Math Pig, right? I was 2 hours late, and I came in as he was ending. I'm telling you, this is bad. And then I thought he meant that he was going to have an open mic this Thursday, which, I mean, I'm looking at the computer. That's today. Okay. Well, apparently, so I just sat there saying, "Oh, Beth, I can't come to your stream. I'm so sorry. I'm a week early." Okay. So enough said. Moving on then.
Oh my goodness. See, I thought I was overlapping him tonight.
Yeah, that's what. Okay. So anyway, it's what runs in the family. Anyway, so
I can't keep track. It's too much.
I can't either. I mean, I'm looking at his channel right now. There's nothing going on. But anyway, okay. So sovereignty of God, and I think Godless Granny would have been a good idea if you'd gone there, because what she was doing was more than 2 steps circular, but circular just the same. And that's not great. So what's the sovereignty question?
The question is, does God choose who goes to heaven, or does man choose who goes to heaven?
Okay. If I could address that. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to address that biblically, not from any Christian sect. What the Bible says about it is that there'll be 31.5 thousand people who risk hell by the time the whole story's over. Out of the whole world's population, 31.5 thousand. It gives a hard number. It can be calculated. A few things in that book can be calculated. There's only 3 math problems, but that's one of them. So when Christians start saying things like, "Oh, only my sect goes to heaven," or that's what they're basing this on. Only 144,000 go to heaven. All this blah 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 blah. Those are all huge assumptions they can't justify. So there's that. That didn't even start to answer what you said, did it?
Nope.
He's building up. He's building it up.
I figured that. I'm waiting.
Before we get into it too much, Granny, you had a great stream.
Thank you.
I thoroughly.
Oh, you lucky devil! You caught it. Good.
I will say, SJ got me going when she started talking about sexuality in general. I don't think it's our place to gatekeep. So when she started saying definites about sexuality, I was like, it's just scary territory.
It gets pretty cringe
that
pretty
wasn't
fast.
Really where I wanted to go. I wanted to keep more into theology and less into that. But there were some things that she said that just absolutely, we kind of had to go there.
And the bridges she was building, I just had to say she was making up a lot of stuff, but you kind of have to, and at least from her standpoint, it was. I was jumping at my phone like, "Are you kidding me?" her views on sexuality are very behind us, very from a world that doesn't exist anymore.
I think it's funny that her parents are much more liberal than she is.
Wow. It's funny that way though. My parents were disciplinarians, and with my son, my rule is don't burn the house down. So
that's a good rule.
Yeah. That's rule number 1. We start from there.
Too funny.
Okay, so let me see if I can get my brain back in my head. Hold on a second. Okay, so when Christians are talking about whether or not God would or could deny someone, and I guess that's generally the whole thought process there, Granny.
Actually, it's really the reverse of their thought process, because the thought process that the Christians usually bring to the table is they either say man chooses to be saved by putting his faith in God, or they say God chooses to save man by his election.
Right.
But what I'm doing is flipping it over and saying, okay, if man chooses, can God negate that choice?
Okay, so this is where their pride comes in. Really, the question is taking advantage of their pride and tribalism. So I think that's why they have the response they have. But what the text actually has to say about it is it's kind of both, but the Christians are not explaining it very well. Like, you have no reason to believe in God at all right now. And that's obvious in the text that's understood by those in heaven, that they're well aware of that. Okay. But then when it talks about an actual dissension of heaven onto the earth, and it becomes like visibly obvious, well, then that's an intervention into people's lives. So from there, they have a choice. So it's not 2 occurrences, it's 3. The arrival of heaven, then the person has to assess the situation, and then they make their choice. See, so it's kind of leaving a step out, really.
So if someone chooses, then God's not going to reject anybody, is what you're saying, that chooses.
Well, I mean, it's just like if you were a doctor, invented a new pill, right? And it cured every possible disease. And I mean, what patients would you reject? You'd never have a reason. That's really loud.
What I was getting at with the question, though, is if man chooses whether or not he is saved, then God is not sovereign, because God does not determine who goes to heaven.
What's the problem with God being not sovereign? What's the problem with that?
Well, I don't have a problem with no God whatsoever, but the Christians definitely, say that God is sovereign, and that's one of the biggest points of their theology is that
Sure.
God is sovereign.
Yeah, it's a dogmatic stance,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not even sure everything that's entailed in that and what they mean by it if they say sovereign.
Mm-hmm.
But what are your stance on biblical punishment? Because at the end,
There's no punishments in the Bible.
okay, because SJ got me going on that too.
No, there's no punishment in the Bible. There's just a tradition of shallow reading of the Bible. There's no punishments described.
I've always looked. Oh, sorry.
The only punishment described at all is a self-inflicted punishment where the person punishes themselves.
Yeah. I've always looked at the Bible as a form of control. So when you say you're going to punish somebody if you don't do something, that's more of an earthly thing.
Which line of the description of a cult is that in the Bite model?
Oh, I'm gonna have to pull that up.
I'm just kidding. But it's in there. It's totally in there.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
I'm going to withhold love. I'm going to withhold
Yeah.
approval. That's something a cult does.
And that's where a lot of people are gearing towards and saying they may not be, in a cult necessarily, but they're definitely how's it going?
Oh my God. IQ's on one of my streams. Dave, write down the day and the time for me.
The IQ just got boosted in here.
It was like a
See,
Bud
I
Light.
told you, Granny, everybody comes at about quarter after. See, it's 17 after now. Everybody's showing. That's
Well,
why
I
I
had to
didn't
start
rush to
dinner.
start.
See, I'm the reason that IQs are based on averages. See, I'm bringing the room down. He's bringing it up. It's balanced. It's well balanced.
Oh,
That's
shut
good.
up. There's no.
Good.
I don't have any friends that aren't brilliant. So
So
my
you're
toughest to
Shut
bring it into the
Nor do I
garden.
have
See, I don't know
Family, it's not
about
brilliant.
IQ averages because as far as I know, I'm the only IQ. So I mean, throw averages right out the window.
100%.
IQ of 1.
Richard and I were talking, I guess it was about a year and a half ago about this, and about, if you're a failure with God, or if God's disappointed in you, or if he's going to punish you.
It's just,
And what he basically told me was that from his reading frame, that we are like children, and God knows we have our heads up our asses. In short.
so it's really a pride problem, I think, because what we're saying is I should be able to do, as a Christian, that what they're saying is I should be able to do what this Bible instructs. But then the Bible on that topic says you're going to fail. And then it says the only one who doesn't fail is the hero of the story. And then the practitioner thinks that they should be able to do everything that the hero of the story does. I mean, this is just insanity. That makes no sense in any world.
If I start a treasure hunt and leave the worst possible clues, if any at all,
Mhm.
and expect someone to find the treasure and punish the people who didn't find the treasure, maybe not even punish, but disregard them, and that is that their fault when somebody
No.
doesn't find the treasure? And I
You're
give
quoting what
terrible
you've been
clues.
taught by Christian pride. You're quoting what Christians have said about the text, which is based in their pride. I'll give an example. Think of the absolute simplest thing that exists. For me, I would say that's hydrogen. Okay. Now, do I know everything about hydrogen? Well, it's entirely possible that science doesn't know everything about hydrogen. I certainly don't know. Okay, so if I don't know everything about the simplest thing that I know of, then I have gaps in my knowledge everywhere, which is what the text says. My people perish for lack of understanding, etc., etc. Lean not upon your own understanding, etc. And it goes on and on like that. But it also says that justice will be administered. Well, okay. Now I'm talking about now we're talking about being judged on our abilities and knowledge, which is why the only unforgivable sin is you rejecting heaven. It can't be forgiven because it's your act. You're rejecting it. It's not rejecting you.
What's heaven?
Actually, a series of 29 spaceships.
Oh, I had a dream like that one time.
Were they red?
No, it was the only. I have very involving dreams, and I've disappointed. I've only had one starship dream. So all my dreams are extremely earthly, and I've only had one dream where I was walking around on a ship. No, it was like a 1950s version of what they used to think spaceships were. I was kind of. It was weird. It was a dream.
Fun.
You know, our dreams are insane. You know. But I walked around.
Maybe
I looked out the window and everything.
Did you see space going by?
Yeah, but the thing is, a long time ago, I read a book about lucid dreaming, and from that, this was 20 years ago, and I keep sleep journals, and from that moment, I started remembering all my dreams. So it's something I told myself, I trained myself. I keep a sleep journal. I literally wake up and I'll scribble it down and make fun of myself the next morning because half of it's gibberish, you know. But there's always that key word that'll help me remember my dream, you know. And I'm an atheist. I still think it has meaning, but only on this earth, you know. I don't think it's anything beyond. I don't know. I'm a cynic. I'm a hardcore atheist when it comes to certain things, but I respect people's beliefs, you know.
Hi, I'm B. I'm a cynic. Yes.
I try to stay.
I'm cynical.
Yes.
I don't believe anything until somebody puts it in my hand and I go, "Oh, it is a baby." You know, like
yeah. I know what you're saying.
I just can't. By the way, for those of you who missed it, my friends who I met through my brother just had their baby this morning. And sometime today, I'm not sure. I just got pictures late.
Awesome.
And she is beautiful and perfect and all fingers and toes. So, yay, baby. Can't wait to hold her.
Richard,
Go ahead.
you know, while we're talking about the cynical thing, I don't know if it's irrelevant to your ultimate point that you were making, but you said like I'm sure you're just pulling something out like, you know, hydrogen is quite simple. It's the first element periodic table, you know, the lightest one. It's like the most abundant thing in the universe, more or less. But is it simple as in that's just easy to think of, or what are we talking about simplicity here? Like, because I can think of like neutrinos to be much more simple. Like hydrogen is fair. Way bigger. It interacts with things, you know, it bumps into stuff, it joins with things. Neutrinos, it's like a ninja. Man, it doesn't even, it has to pass through miles before it actually interacts with anything.
Yeah, I think of it as more like the juggernaut, and it just never stops going, and sometimes it stops if it wants to.
No, I mean, I could think of that to be simpler, or maybe like up quarks or down quarks, you know, because that's fundamentally simpler than the hydrogen that makes up.
It is,
you know, all these
it's
things,
a horrible example, which is why I'm not a scientist.
What creates the neutrino could be more complicated. So, you know, we have to define simplicity here. It's all how you look at it, you know.
But that's what he said. Think of the simplest thing you can think of. Right now, the simplest thing I can think of is hydrogen.
Well, you know.
So, it's perspective.
Simplicity just depends on how much you're looking at it. If you think something's not complicated, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, but the overarching point is since I don't know everything about anything, I can't make perfect decisions, which means that you can't be held culpable and liable for what it's why we make mistakes. We don't know everything about the situation. I don't know everything about the situation I'm presently in. And that's always the situation.
I've always just found it to be a completely moot concept to even argue about the validity of anything that's said in the Bible.
Okay.
until somebody demonstrates
What do you
why
want
I should take
demonstrated?
any of that seriously. Is this
Okay.
even something I should take seriously?
Well, that's a serious challenge. Okay, well, I guess I'd have to know what's serious to you.
I agree.
What's serious
agree.
to me?
Reality.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what
Ooh, that's a rabbit hole.
I but
Just a
I
little rabbit.
I will say though, like I believe in resurrection, but that's because I died and came back to life. But it wasn't anything special because it happens all the time. It was more of a
I have a
medical
certain definition of death.
Yeah, well, it was a medical. Well, I was. They put me in with the. They put me in the locker with all the in the cold room, so to speak. I
Oh,
was
you
out.
were dead
You
long
were in
enough
the
to.
morgue?
Oh
How
yeah,
long were you
I
dead
woke
for?
up. You know what? I to not give the story away too much because I'm gonna tell it on a stream soon.
Oh,
I-
save it.
I no, it's okay. I passed out. I remember waking up with the paramedic with the paddles over my chest in the ambulance. I remember my body jerking back and forth. I passed out. I woke up. I was in the morgue. And I'm not kidding you. My body was stiff. I like the Undertaker. I arose, and I'll never forget. The nurse was extremely flamboyant man, and I was like, it's ironic I get a hottie, and I passed, and I remember passing back out. So when I came back to, and the only reason I know that because this is what I said when I came back to. This was my first words when I came back to after all that traumatic stuff. I had been out for at least 2 hours. To the point where so many people pass an OD in Portland, Oregon. If your body is to a certain extent, they just put you in the meat locker hallway. And I was on the assembly line to go be put in the locker.
Don't you hate when people treat you like a piece of meat?
At that point, I was. I truly believe that. So my whole thing
Depends on how hot she is. Oh,
I guess there's a
go
certain
ahead.
point where it's excusable. Sorry.
In all my ramblings, when your brain is done, you're done. I've had spiritual experiences, but I've also taken tons of acid and mushrooms when I was a kid, and they magically kind of went away when I stopped taking, mushroom and acid, so to speak. And this is over time. But my whole point is resurrection's real. And if you don't believe in it, you've never met a junkie before. Because they'll die like 5 times in their life.
Will, what
Yeah,
stream
but-
are you going to do the whole story on?
Well, on Neil's, but
Niels? Okay.
also I do a podcast with Sam Chaos and Maddie, and I was thinking because it's a saga. Life leads you to certain places in your life. I was basically where Richard was. I didn't believe in the formed church, but I kind of was like exactly what. And then I died, and and nothing happened. And I'm not. This is my personal experience.
Well,
this is my personal experience.
Well, I need you to define resurrection.
I died. My heart stopped. My brain stopped. I was dead for over an hour,
You're
2 hours.
describing your
We
experience.
need a better
I want you to
definition of
define-
death
I
first.
need you to define
Oh, okay.
resurrection.
Well,
We
to
have-
me, I died, came back to life, and I don't believe in the afterlife. I can't say it's one of those things. It's kind of like what Spock told McCoy. It kind of has to happen to you. So you guys can give me the McCoy answer, like, oh, I have to die first. Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know. I was hoping for more. I was hoping for, but
Actually, Will, if you don't mind me saying so, I don't think that there is such thing as an unembodied mind of any
Okay.
kind.
okay.
I
So-
think that's like physically impossible.
Okay. So
I do not believe in resurrection, and I can explain myself here.
oh, it's okay.
It's because of death. Now, I can't hold this view without this little asshole, the back of my brain, poking at me saying, you're being fallacious, because it's like the no true dead person fallacy. But, like, death,
Like-
the permanent ending of vital processes in a cell or tissue,
Mhm.
permanent. If you come back, you were not dead.
Okay.
We don't have
my heart.
we don't have a clear definition of death. Yes, it's usually described as when brain activity stops, when the heart stops. There's a lot of things that we can say that someone is, that dude is dead, but we don't have a very clear definition of exactly what death is, because there's so many different states of suspended animation that we don't really quite fully understand yet, because there are people who can be kind of defined as dead, but they came back. Now, I will grant you, this could be resurrection. They could have actually been dead, but I can't ignore the fact that we don't fully understand death yet. So I
You're
can't conclusively say that you were dead.
you're proving my point because it negates Jesus Christ's resurrection. That's my whole point.
Oh
My
yeah,
whole
the
point-
point that
my
you're
whole
getting
point
at,
is-
yeah, I'm
Is
with
that it's
you on
not
that.
rare.
But I don't
No,
know if you were
I
actually
agree with
dead.
you. Hey, maybe I wasn't because I'm still here.
Yeah,
But
well,
when I
well,
came to, I had medical professionals standing over me, telling me, "You died. You died. You were dead, and you came back to life." It was a thing. Like I
Oh
had.
no, I say that
entire
every time
staff-
somebody says that Jesus died for my sins. Hold on. I thought he came back 3 days later. Well, yeah, he did.
3 days.
But you just said he died.
But
Like,
just
did he
didn't
die or
sin
did he
during-
come back to life?
You
Like,
know,
I
No,
have a different
it-
definition
no,
of
but
death.
didn't get very,
Where you don't
but
come
now-
back to life.
See, but we're
you didn't have to
doing
be
that
dead very
thing.
long because you didn't sin that much.
No matter how much you move, no matter how much you move the, well, that's relative. Then if I didn't sin much up to that point, then we're all okay.
I like how
Well,
Seth
well,
Andrews
but-
puts it, is that Jesus was temporarily inconvenienced for your sins.
we keep on trying to move the goalposts. No matter what you say, no matter what, my heart stopped and my brain stopped. And then I came back. I'm not saying that I walk on water. I'm not saying it's anything special. What I'm saying is it happens all the time.
Oh no,
Oh.
bullshit! That's special, man. My heart has never stopped. My
Mine has.
brain activity has never stopped. I've been quite
Oh,
close, thank you,
If
weed.
you're into,
But I've never actually had complete lack of brain activity, and
Oh, if
my
you're
heart has
looking-
never stopped, and yours has, and that's fucking special.
if you're into
Okay, you two,
motocross,
you two
there's-
take a deep breath.
no.
Jenny, go.
well, I have no doubt that you experience this moment of death or period of 2 hours worth of death. It happens all the time, all over the world, in all sorts of cultures. Some people think it's godly, and most people don't think it is. Or I shouldn't say most, but many people don't think it is. I have a problem with the word resurrection. Okay, a near-death experience is fine, but resurrection, that word to me implies that I have been brought back to life from a dead state by a greater power, an external greater power, and so I'm real bothered when you say resurrected.
Okay, deal with it. No, matter what- no, because like I said, like there's like it happened to me, so there's no negotiation. You guys are gonna have to figure it out on your own. I'm not here to sell wolf tickets. Like
Yeah, but why don't you just describe it as I had a near-death experience and I came back to life?
because it
Why-
got you going. You should come on at 7 o'clock and we can discuss this again. Because last time we argued, like 30 people were watching. So why don't you come on? We'll argue this tonight.
So these medical professionals, were these like veterinarians or maybe like some candy stripers or
No, I passed out in downtown of middle of Portland, Oregon, and I woke up in the hospital. I don't know. It's the one that's like south of Burnside. No, that would be northwest of Burnside Bridge. I'd have to look that up. It was a real hospital, I wasn't in some Banana Republic. Well, it depends on where you're.
It wasn't serpent in the rainbow, and you should be glad too, because they just stick a needle in your eyeball, and if you don't flinch, okay, that dude's dead.
I had an
That would have
experience
sucked to
where-
wake up to.
I had an experience where to treat the disorder that my heart was experiencing at the time, they had to kill me.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Okay, and they had to do it twice.
Yeah.
And then I was brought back. Now, is that the same thing?
Yeah, you were resurrected by medical professionals.
instead of auto auto resuscitation is what they call it with the Lazarus syndrome. And I put in the chat, Velma Thomas, 59, of Nitro, West Virginia, in May 2008, died. They said there was no brain activity or whatever, cardiac. 17 hours later, after no detection of brain activity, she came back to life. And she according to the medical record, she holds the world record.
Wow.
I've heard about that case as well.
Yeah.
And paddles do not restart your heart.
No, they reset it.
No, they reset it because it's called a defibrillator because your heart is fibrillating. It is. It's like, it's just shaking.
It's out of time.
It's not in rhythm.
It's out of time.
Yeah, it's out of rhythm. Whenever somebody's having a heart attack, your heart is just like kind of shaking. Nobody's heart has ever stopped, and then paddles have restarted it.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not true. They do that in surgery all the time, IQ.
I was going
They do that in heart surgery all the time.
I've seen in an emergency room somebody paddle a dead body.
Because you got to get the medicine right here. I was
you
going
can paddle
through,
a dead body all you want,
through,
and I'm not going to kink shame.
I was going through an atrial fibrillation crisis, and the paddles did not correct my atrial fibrillation. They use the paddles to shut me down. Okay? They give you enough of a jolt that you die. Okay? And then they have to bring you back. And maybe they will, and maybe they won't. You have to sign a paper that says, I agree to this.
Yep. So you can't sue the hospital. Yep.
And the first time they tried it, it didn't work. And so they had to try it again. And then I came back.
We're glad it worked.
So no, the paddles don't just change the fibrillation state. They will kill you and they will wake you up.
They didn't help me much because that was the beginning of the story, not the end of it.
Well, I suppose I've got some words for my my first aid technician. Because that was coming from the trainer who trained me in first aid. I'm trained in using a defibrillator and all types of stuff. The Heimlich maneuver, all that.
On. There's the
that's
AED,
who told me that.
The AEDs, which are automatic defibrillators, and tell you step by step, is not the same thing as what they use in the hospital. The joules are much lower. Much lower.
An AED is much more like the device that they implant under your skin. That monitors your heart and goes every once in a while if it needs to.
Right. That is exactly right.
Which is what they want to do for me if I can collect $6,000 from my friends.
So but that's a lot different. The what they use in the emergency room, surgery, whatever, the actual paddles they have to restart a heart after heart surgery, those things are kicking, man. Like that's not a joke. The joules on that are I think 8 or 10 times as much as what an AED has. So no, an AED is not going to save your totally. It will reset you. Yeah, it can reset your heart, but it's not going to restart it like you would think. It's just too dangerous to have that out in public. Someone would touch the motherfucker and die. That's what would happen. So,
and the human body is an amazing, amazing thing. You would be shocked what you can do to the human body and still live.
It can be a shocking experience. You want to keep going, buddy? I'm trained. I'm a Madsen, man. I can do this all day.
Don't even try it, man. She'll win. I gave up decades ago.
I mean, there's so many debate channels. Where's a great pun off?
I'd watch that.
Would be refreshing.
Oh, don't start that. Everybody wanted to do drunk atheist history, so I started that. Now everybody's like, "Oh, I'm busy. I don't drink anymore." So I don't even want to hear anything. I'm not starting a new one. You guys want to start something new? You go ahead. I'll jump in on it though. I will get in on the pun off, and I guarantee you it will be punny. Guarantee it.
There will be no shortage of puns,
Nope.
dad jokes. Oh.
Nope. There were, yes, dad jokes are included. Most of those are puns anyways.
Mhm.
So originally, before you guys jumped in and took over, Granny and Richard were having a whole conversation over here. You guys want to touch back on that? Get back to where we
My
were?
apologies. Carry on.
No, you're fine. We don't have, this isn't set shit. We're just talking. It's
I know
Squirrel.
my resurrection is always a point of topic. Jenny, I'm willing to argue with you about it later too.
Okay, I'm starving. I want to have dinner, so hurry up with this crap, okay?
All this talk
Go
about
over here
babies.
and come back. We'll probably be here.
I'm literally cooking right now as this is going on. I'm gonna jump off and put the ravioli on in a minute.
Anyways, Richard, go ahead. You and Granny were talking about a whole. We segued. Seriously.
Well, I think IQ started to make an objection, and I'm not sure we ever like addressed it. I thought Granny was kind of wrapped up. Were you not?
Yeah, I really was.
I thought.
Oh,
so.
okay. Oh, okay. Rock on then.
Boy, do
Carry
I
on
know
with
how
you.
to
I don't care.
derail a conversation.
Well, you fucked it
You
all
did
up,
it to
IQ. I
yourself.
swear.
You changed the subject, then you changed it from that, and I don't know what happened after that. All kinds of stuff.
No, death
Yeah.
definitely needs definition. I agree.
Well, you know,
We need a
clinical
better
death
definition of
and-
life too.
You know what? You know,
Yeah.
it just goes back to what I was saying. It just it doesn't disprove the Bible. My whole thing about the Bible is whether it's true or not. As far as Christianity goes, Jesus Christ's prophecy, none of those prophecies came true. So we should
They're not
all
supposed
move
to.
on.
They're not supposed to have yet. According to the Bible, they can't have happened yet. Look, I'll just point out a real quick one for you. If a prophet says something and it doesn't happen, they're no prophet. Right? That's
Yeah.
from the Bible.
Mhm.
Okay. Then Jesus said, this generation shall not pass. And they did. Okay. So what's the problem here? Either the Bible is claiming Jesus is both the prophet and not the prophet, or it's not the past.
Mhm.
You have to settle on one of those.
Oh, you just reminded me of a Babylon 5 quote from Veer Cotto. Oh, I can't
I
remember.
I know some people who say Jesus did come back already.
Well, they can say what they want,
That's right.
but
I've worked in a convalescent home.
It's supposed to be like a big deal that you can't miss.
Hmm.
It's not supposed to be, oh, it's a spiritual thing and only the spiritual people will see it. That's kind of pointless. Sorry.
There's just so many different ideas on that you know you can go absolutely anywhere with it.
And you know why that
No.
is? Because none of it is true.
No,
That's
that's
right.
not. No,
right.
that's not. Okay, that's not completely accurate. Okay, just because there's a lot of leeway for people to say a lot of things doesn't mean that necessarily something has no value.
Well, she didn't say it has no value. She just said it wasn't true.
Okay, if it's not true, it has no value
No,
Well,
other
sure,
than
a
like
poem has-
ententament or something.
that's not correct. You can
Still
have,
call it art, I
you can
guess.
have moral platitudes that are not true, but can still have an effect of some nature on another person.
Mhm.
Oh,
It doesn't
very-
it doesn't have to be a good effect,
You know,
but
there's a lot of attributes that I still carry from when I was a Catholic. There's still something like be a good person. There's still certain things that I still do.
You would have been a good person anyway.
Well, thank
like
you.
keep your hands off the altar, boy. Well, it's
It's simple.
And don't eat
To
the
be
yellow
fair-
snow.
To be fair, that altar boy and I, we dated for like 6 years, and he's a nice guy. To
No,
be
I think
fair.
he was talking about the priests, but okay. Oh,
we moved
well.
on with our lives. It's the
well,
cowboy
there goes
hat.
monetization.
Every 6 months, we call each other and say, "I can't quit you," and then hang up the phone.
I mean, how many of Nostradamus's quatrains can
How
be
very-
interpreted to have, been accurate?
Oh,
18 out of over 2,000,
See, I knew Richard would have an answer for this question, which is why I asked.
or a crappy percentage.
I mean, yeah, a very crappy percentage. If you open up your, I'm going to say this very loosely. If you open your mind up a little bit, how many more have came true? Like, oh well, it said this and this, and what that meant, and like you take all these mental gymnastics to say that this is what that meant, and you can link pretty much anything if you give it enough thought and you give it the what do you call it, like the 6 degrees of separation. It's not just with people. You could say, well, this came from this, and then that means this in this language, so that's what that meant. So probably I would say if you really tried really hard, over 50% of them, just as a guess, if you tried really hard to make most of them make sense somehow, and it doesn't even really need to be true, but forcing them to make sense somehow through some sort of cherry picking thing. And that's the way I see prophecies, is that there's so many that don't come true. The ones that do, they're like, look, this came true. Like, of course it did. Shit happens.
No,
If you really want to blow your mind, go to the Library of Babel.
When has there not been
everything?
turmoil? When has there not been turmoil, strife, wars in human history? When has there not been people hurting somebody? Even right now, people are enslaved. In LA, we fight human trafficking like on large mass amounts. So I don't know. Has there ever been peace in humanity, quote unquote peace, where we're all walking around in loincloths?
Not sustainable. No.
Peace. There has been peace.
But
but
I
not
too.
as a species.
If you ask Richard, he'll tell you the Bible hasn't happened yet. So of course there's no proof.
This is something I've learned. And
He said it's all prophetic.
I'll set all the jokes aside for a second. Peace does not happen in a community. Peace cannot be conversed, cannot be traded, and it cannot be sold. You cannot give it to anybody else. Peace is in your head.
And what causes it?
It is an understanding and an equilibrium with your life and your situations.
So acceptance of truth.
Yes.
All of
Peace.
it, even the parts you don't like.
When you're at peace with your mistakes, what is that? You have accepted
Learning.
things
Learning.
that has happened.
Yeah, it's
Like,
acceptance.
I have made some mistakes and I am at peace with myself. I've learned from my mistakes. And may I make them again? It's possible. But I know better. There's a better chance that I won't. But I've forgiven myself for the things that I know now were wrong. Because I understand why they're wrong.
I'd like to argue with the word forgive right there. What was to be forgiven?
If I do not forgive myself, then I'm holding myself accountable for something. There's something that has been unresolved.
Yeah, your pride. That's what's unresolved there, is the person's pride. That's why they think they shouldn't have messed up in the first place. But everything we learn from messing up or someone else messing up.
If I know better and I still do it anyway, that makes me an asshole. If I don't know better and I fuck up and I learn from it, I think that's beautiful. No, it's unfortunate that you made a mistake.
Amen.
That makes you human.
Yeah.
All of it.
No, I believe in personal responsibility, but to be a complete asset, money helps too. I'm just saying, money helps.
But like, we think of peace as this, something that we need to bring to the world. No. And like, I try not to use the term in your heart. I'm not talking about my heart. We've talked about hearts enough today. And it's not like you think with your heart or your emotions. There's anything that has to do with your, emotional intelligence that has to do with your, your blood pumper. It's the emotional part of your brain, and where your emotional intellect and your cognitive intellect kind of intersect into what is known as you. That's what needs to be at peace. Peace is in your heart. You need to accept your mistakes, learn from your mistakes, know the world is not perfect, and be okay with everything that comes your way. Change what you can. And what you can't change is going to happen
careful.
anyway.
It is what it is. Be careful what, Richard?
That's almost a quote of a prayer, and he knows that.
Oh. Touche.
You know, and I'm not afraid to say that there's certain things that religion got right. It's not 100%
Wait.
wrong.
Oh no!
Wait, 10 minutes ago it had no value.
But
No. The Bible
Yes, the Bible.
in itself. Should I take any of that seriously? Okay, I will start you off with Bruce Lee. Okay, to explain where I'm coming from here. Absorb what is useful. Discard what is useless. Add what is uniquely your own. Now, should I take any of the claims seriously?
Which claims?
That's the question. Which claims?
You talking about
If
like
there's any
miracles
truth,
or
If there's any truths in there that I can see and I can experience to be true.
You want me to give you
that
one
have-
now?
I have a quick question for Richard. What part of the Bible in Genesis talks about idolatry?
I want to address
go ahead.
IQ real quick.
Go ahead.
Hit me.
IQ, is it true that if a person works hard enough, they can go to sleep even though they're hungry? Is that true?
If a person works hard enough,
If
They
they
can go
work
to
really
sleep
hard,
even if
they
they're
could go to sleep even if they're hungry, if they're exhausted enough. Is that true? or not?
I've been there several times.
Okay, that's a Bible quote. So there's one thing that you just agreed is true in the Bible. At least one.
Hmm.
Okay,
No, I mean,
but there's a
I
bunch.
understand what you're getting at there. And when I say overall, as a compilation, should I take
Okay.
any of it seriously? Yes.
Well,
Should I take all of it seriously because any of it does make sense?
no, that's not a good reason.
No.
That's not a good reason. And what the Christians say about it doesn't make sense, and it's inconsistent, and it's self-defeating, and it doesn't comport to reality. I don't accept that either.
I mean, we also talks about love thy neighbor. I agree with that.
Sure.
I don't reject every word in there because I would be rejecting things that are obvious truths and things that anybody with any fucking sense whatsoever should adhere to. But
But not all of
as
it's
a whole,
obvious.
I should not accept the book.
Well, just tell me
for
something in it that's
anything
not true.
Hold on. I'll just pick.
just
at
pick
random.
one.
No, I'll
That
just pick.
Nebuchadnezzar
serious.
defeated Egypt.
Nebuchadnezzar defeated past tense Egypt. Okay. What's the word Egypt right there mean? Would you happen to know?
It's a country in Africa.
No,
that's
there's
what
a
they-
country named Egypt. That word there is not Egypt. That word Egypt there is, I'm sorry, is actually based on the Hebrew nickname for the word Egypt. So when they saw the Hebrew nickname, they put the word Egypt in English. It's not Egypt at all. It's actually
is it?
limitation. That word Egypt right there means limitation.
I told
It
you
doesn't
he
mean
looked
a
up
country.
ancient Hebrew. I warned you.
No, but
It doesn't. It's not even a country. It's a situation.
Okay, so are you claiming that Nebuchadnezzar conquered the situation of limitation?
Well, yes, actually, I am. But what you just said is Nebuchadnezzar did not, and you'd be right.
Right, but the Bible says he did.
Yes, as a future event, it is true that world government will because that's what Nebuchadnezzar, why he suffers 7 years, why he is the tree that supports all life. It's because it's all government. It's not one government. It's all government. And when he falls, will be part of all of that process. And yes, that will actually happen. but it's a description of a series of events that haven't happened yet. So I agree with you. There's no history lesson there. You're absolutely right if that's what you mean.
Well, what I mean is that, if you take the plain reading of the text that says that Nebuchadnezzar was going to defeat the nation of Egypt, and it describes the king of Egypt coming, and that there would be this battle between Israel and Babylon, and that Babylon was going to be the victor, and then it didn't happen. There was a battle between Egypt and Babylon, and Nebuchadnezzar severely weakened the Egyptian forces, but he never defeated them.
Well, that's not a defeat. But you could also bring up Tyre and plenty of other. There's still people that were supposed. There's still people who are supposed to be completely wiped out. They still exist. And by the way, the Jews and those folks were neighbors. They knew they still existed.
Okay, so in the tactile
to assume
world,
as a Christian that the Jews would have thought they'd killed off those people completely is not realistic at all. The Jews know they didn't do it.
But then how come archaeology has only found shreds of what's in the Bible, and Yadin himself and the people and every archaeologist that followed him after 1948 have they haven't found the city of David. They found the
prophetic.
Richard
they haven't. It's prophetic.
Godless sowing. I would be absolutely shocked if we found real evidence. I would have to reconsider my position if we found physical evidence to these stories having happened. That would really freak me out, actually. And here's why.
We'll skip to the part what Richard was. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just throwing in point. I've been there. I went there as a child, and a lot of it's made up. Israel is a made up place.
Okay, let me describe what I think actually happened in the storyline, and I'm sure you can associate to this. There was a time in your life where you didn't know what you know right now. Say you were half your age, and maybe you even had a mentor, maybe a parent or a cousin or someone who said, "Look, things are going to change, and here's how they're going to change." And you said, "Well, I don't get it." So they gave you an example using your existent life that you already experienced, but they had to fudge it a little bit because it doesn't work for your future. But it's a foundation. It's a memory hook. It's something you can deal with. So yeah, there's made up history and real history in the Bible. There has to be. There's no choice about it.
Yeah, because they don't want to. Yeah,
because you can't use the past as a perfect example of the future. You have to fudge it.
Yeah, but we're reading a book from one particular tribe that was hammered by the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Romans. I don't know
what that has to do with it.
But what I'm saying is our perspective comes from one tribe of goat herders that were out in the middle of the desert.
No, actually, that perspective does not come from one tribe of Bronze Age goat herders out in the desert. And by the way, you can't write as well as those retarded Bronze Age goat herders, if you want to call them that. You can't write that well.
I didn't call them retarded. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't. You said sewing. You said that to diminish their intelligence.
Absolutely.
You can't.
Absolutely.
But you can't write that well. So don't do that.
How do you know? Have you ever read anything that Will has written?
I've never seen anyone write that well. Shakespeare copied it, and he was known to be the best ever.
I question the validity.
I disagree with that assessment as well. I don't think Shakespeare is the best writer ever.
A lot of people think so. You can disagree personally. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But he copied Tyndale, who transliterated the Old Testament. That's where the writing style comes from. Okay? So let's not try to diminish
anti-Stratfordian.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not start insulting the authors. That we don't have a right to do that.
I don't think that they have.
You can't say that they were such great writers. We don't know who interpreted it. What was their original script? How did that write? How did that?
Actually, for the Old Testament, we do have very ancient scripts. For New Testament's another problem.
Ancient scripts, but they're still not original.
What do you mean by original?
The ones that were written down first, the first copy of what was written.
You want a signature copy, and you want it written at the bottom. You want signed Moses. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Well, no, because such a thing
Picture-
doesn't exist. I mean, Moses didn't write the
Right.
first books of the Bible.
Right,
But what-
especially
but-
about his own death, right? He didn't write about his own death for sure.
Or his birth.
Okay, so let me present something that I think is logical. Why it would make sense that there should be no signatures. Let's say I wrote a love letter to
I
you,
never
Godless
thought
Granny.
that there should be.
I thought that was your objection just now. There are no signatures. Isn't that,
No,
is that not what you said?
No, that is not what I said.
You said there were no originals. Original would be a signature. You said there are
No,
Did-
original
was
would
it
not be
an
a
objection?
signature. Original would be a manuscript, not a signature.
Okay, well then I don't know what you asked for in the first place. I guess.
Just
What was the objection?
written.
What she's looking for is a first draft. Whoever the heck wrote it, I want to see the first draft.
Okay,
Exactly.
So I used the word signature copy, and you said that should be called a draft. Is that right? Am I using the wrong word?
Yeah, because anybody can hand me the draft. It doesn't have to be the person who wrote it. I want.
It also needs to be notarized.
I want to see. The,
Obviously.
I want to see the
Shut
document.
up.
Okay.
Well,
so
I mean, you
here's
see a really old, manuscript, and it dates back to a such and such time period, and somebody pops out of the bushes and says, "Hey, yes, that's really old, but it was really written by blah 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 blah," and there's
Forgery
no way to
problem.
substantiate that
That's
claim.
right. That's right.
Borderline
forgery
cynicism,
problem.
but maybe it could be true.
That's
There's
why
no
it's
way
better
to
to-
falsify it.
That's why it's better to not have only one copy. That's why it's better. For instance, if I wrote a note to someone and I give it to one person, they have control over it. Say I died right after I wrote it, right? Like say it's a will or something. But what if I took and I copied my will and sent it to, lots of people who didn't know each other? You see what I'm saying?
Copying sounds much less of a task in modern times. Back then,
Of course.
it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but
Yes,
those
but-
people
You
had
think of,
nothing else to
how
do.
many
They
prints
just
of a
wrote all
book.
day.
And it's just like we've got the printing press, we've got, copy machines, or it's just like we push a button and then boom, we have a whole nother book. But then it's like, painstaking hours and hours of writing, not only to mention
and we know
how
there's
long it took to make the paper they're writing on, there's a
Right.
lot of things to think about when it comes
Yep.
to, several
We have-
copies of something
and
thousands of
we
years
have
ago.
we have verified scribal errors where they repeated the last line and they didn't mean to write it twice, but it got written twice. We know about all you're talking about. You're right. You're completely right. It's just not a defeater for it being what it originally was.
Jumping back a little bit, and I would say something like, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, but that anybody who knows Richard knows how hilarious that phrase is, because you will. But the original point you were getting at, you would ask me to say, name something that is, that's
That's wrong.
not true in the Bible.
That's not true.
Name
yeah.
something that's wrong. I think
Sure.
the point that you were getting at there, and it was linked to what we were talking about, to where, yes, there's something that we can show is wrong in the Bible. It could be disagreed upon, but that's irrelevant to the fact that just because there is something wrong in there doesn't mean the whole thing is.
Oh, I think
It's
if
the
something's
same point.
a lie, then overall it's a lie.
Then that's scary territory because I can flip it
I
on
mean,
you.
I'm
I
black
can
and white. I'm sorry. I can't find a gray area in truth.
Life is nothing but gray.
No,
You-
truth is not black. Truth is black and white. It's either true or it's not.
Yeah.
Depending on
The
what it's-
interpretation of said truth is where the gray area is.
Fair enough.
Before I jump off, my whole point is I don't.
You have so much
hold-
potential. Don't jump off.
Oh
no,
my God. That's what I was about to say. Oh my God, no, no.
brother, I jumped off that ledge a long time ago, and came back and resurrected. But my whole point is I don't. It's not that I was trying to disrespect them. I don't think that they're prophets. I don't hold them high. I think Abrahamic religions in general are a roadblock in humanity. I think there's what holds us back rather than sets us apart or makes us special. I think it's just another thing for human beings to fight over, as far as I'm concerned. And I can say organized religion, unorganized religion. It's just, I haven't found anything that has any truth in it besides someone ruling over somebody else on this earth, saying, oh, because of this book, because somebody saw, someone cracked the moon in half, because of this or that, all of a sudden.
That one?
I think it's all, I think it's all butt kiss. I think all of it.
Do you know that the reason you can see the moon at night is because it's lit by the sun?
Yeah.
I'm starting at the beginning. Sorry, I'm not trying to insult you.
No. It's okay. My pops worked for Rocketdyne and NASA, so space questions are insulting.
Cool. All right.
That's why I have a problem with the term moonlight.
Nothing personal.
Yeah, it's not moonlight. It's moon reflected light.
But, you turn a light bulb on in your bedroom. Do you call it like wall light? Because that's where most of the light you're seeing is. It's being reflected off your walls.
The walls and furnishings. Yeah. Godless sewing.
Yes.
Okay. You saying what you just said. I'm assuming that you're well aware most solar systems are binary solar systems.
Okay. Well, now wait a minute. We got to go back to this moonlight thing. You guys just tore apart the expression moonlight because it's not light of the moon, but it's reflected light. That you took this truism, that the moon from the light is actually a reflection, and you poo-pooed the mythology, the art, the poetic nature of the term moonlight. But
can we go over sunrise?
And about half Sinatra songs.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. But you won't do that to your Bible.
Come on, guys.
Speak for yourself.
Let's not over talk. Go ahead, Jenny.
Speak for yourself, Jenny. I have done that to the Bible.
I'm referring to this particular discussion tonight.
Well, I'm the only believer here, I think.
Yep.
So
sounds legit.
So most solar systems are binary solar systems where a smaller star orbits the larger star and causes a little bit of wobble in it. And you're probably well aware of that. But you're probably also aware that our present solar system has the potential, it's not likely, potential to become a binary solar system considering Jupiter. Okay? So when the story says Jupiter will be lit on fire, but the story was written more than, I want to be safe, 2,000 years ago, definitely more than that, and that's what's being described in one of the stories. How the hell did they know that this could be a binary solar system?
You know what? The Mayans' prediction was correct because the planets were aligned, and they're still aligned right now. The world didn't end. How did they know? I don't know. I wasn't there.
You mean the year 2012 or the beginning of Aquarius?
They said the planets were gonna align, and they did. I watched it for years and years with my telescope, and it was awesome, and it's still awesome.
What do you mean? What do you mean by align?
It makes it easier for us to see them. No, it makes it easier. It makes it easier for us as human beings with telescopes to look at them, and when we stand on the ground, they appear to be in a straight line, and they're not. That's all I'm saying, and that's what the Mayans had right, without all the fancy stuff that I have.
Right. Right.
I think it's awesome. I don't put a statue up to them. I don't think that they're, the greatest people that ever lived.
If they're benevolent minds, they would tell you not to make a statue to them.
Actually, I did because I carved a giant Olmec head.
Okay, so now you're going back on what you just said. Come on.
But that's more has to do with a race thing and less than that's a whole other subject for a different day.
What's your inseam in your pants?
Rich, we just met. You and I just met today.
I was just wondering if you had any heritage.
I like your beard. I like your beard. And
you should have really short legs if you have some heritage.
You look like a Union general, and that is a turn on. But we just.
That's so sweet. Thank you. I haven't been told I was a turn on to anybody for more than a decade. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you put a blue coat on, I'd have to jump off this stream, which I'm gonna have to.
I'm gonna buy the hat just for you. I'm gonna buy the hat that goes with it.
Hey, Will, I do appreciate you coming, and thank you for the good conversation.
Thank you for inviting me. It was great seeing you guys as always. Richard, you're awesome, and nothing but peace and respect and love to you, to all of you.
And
as an atheist.
And Will's inseam is 26.
Oh, I wish. I wish I stood up right now. I would kill the illusion if I told you how big I really am. I would kill. It's all spatial perception. I have the computer way far away from. I've been
Me
sitting-
too. I'm only 4'2". No one knows. That's how tiny my house is. It makes me look bigger.
Oh, but tonight, the What the Fuck stream, you guys are all invited. You guys should all come on on Auntie Jen's Little Corners channel. You know, and Jenny, you're fully invited to come and argue with me later.
Hey,
I'm
hey,
not-
Robert. Robert,
I'll
put
see you
that in
guys
the chat
later.
for me. That
See ya.
stream for Will for
Thank
later.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Will.
Thank you so much. See you guys later.
And I need to take off as well.
Yeah, Granny, that's cool. Thank you so much for coming. You were the first person to pop up and you entertained everybody with me. Still, if other people came in. So thank you so much. And you're always welcome, all of you guys.
Thanks.
See you, Granny.
Bye.
And then there were 4.
Uh,
Oh, goodness.
Dun dun dun.
Dun,
I was so
dun,
tempted to say
dun.
it, but I wanted to wait on IQ because I stole his last joke.
Oh,
Oh no,
Dave.
I had a great one in the last stream, the after party for Neil. I don't know. I might have seen you in the chat, B, when I did that. The whole the
Probably.
freaking Quagmire thing.
oh yeah. Yeah, I was there for that. I'm sorry
Yeah.
I didn't miss it. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm glad
popped
I
in
caught
like
it.
oh, I'm here for the free mustache ride. Oh,
That's what he did.
hold on, I'm not dressed right. All right. I thought it was hilarious. Anyway,
anyway, now that everybody's had a breath there.
I really feel like I'm like ruining your show, Beth. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
No,
It's all
I
good.
probably actually am.
No, you're not ruining my show. This is an open mic.
how do you ruin an open mic?
And by the way, Jenny wanted to talk to you anyways. So it worked out good.
Well, Jenny, you are still here, I see.
Yeah, but I'm having dinner right now.
Oh,
Okay.
have dinner. We'll get back to you in a minute then. It's
40
fine.
40 chomps.
So for all of you who were looking for Richard on Math Pig stream and he didn't show, he was in a big conversation with someone. So I was 1/3 right because I told Dave that would be one of the issues. That he
Yeah.
got in a conversation with someone and lost track of time, and next thing he knew, it was 2 hours after the stream.
Only 2 hours late. I was only 2 hours
Yeah.
late. It's not.
I mean,
real
that's not bad.
I've done
That's not
worse to
bad.
Marty. I've done worse to Skylar Fiction. I've been worse to. Oh.
Dave,
Hello.
you know, look, this guy's like my lifesaver. So I have to cut off the BLM stream last night. And I'm never around for his streams because they're on the one day I work every week of the 3 days, one of the days. And so I messaged him last night. He gets right back to me, goes through all my settings with me and everything and helps me fix the problem. He's amazing. That's a good friend and doesn't get mad because I didn't talk to him for like, I don't know, 3 weeks or a month or something. Thanks for coming, Dave.
No worries.
I think
missed Richard.
Dave's a prophet. I'm pretty sure Dave's a prophet. Just look at that icon he's got there. Do you know how long he's had that? He already has hand sanitizer pump in the picture.
You know what the worst thing is? I have a version with it coloured like that.
That's great.
Ooh. Oh, that one almost killed
I'm a
me.
non-profit organism.
I need to do something.
Anyways, you can ask him questions and stuff. Come on, not like you haven't been on live streams 500 times.
It's a very low pressure thing.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Nerdy said it's lube, not sanitizer, and that
Oh,
really makes
that's
more
fine.
sense for Dave.
It does. It does.
A whole big pump. It's like a 32-ounce thing of lube.
It looks like a big container. It does. Yeah.
It used to
128 ounce.
contain lube.
If the
What's
pump's
that?
that
Pump's in the
big,
lube.
You guys are ridiculous, Dave.
Besides, Dave's self-lubricating anyway. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Right. Well, yeah, that's probably true. Dave, just so we catch up anybody who doesn't know, who doesn't have the latest. Kaz's surgery is on Tuesday, and
Yes.
they think they're going to get all the cancer.
There you go. Better bloody well do.
Yeah, you bastards with your better health care. Get all of it.
I'm going to run
No,
them over.
healthcare is a hot mess in America right now.
It's not doing it. To be quite honest, it's not doing a lot better here right now.
Why is that?
Everything's- because everything's shut down because of capacity for COVID. I mean, she's basically the first on the list with things opening back up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they shut down medical facilities there?
No, all medical facilities basically stopped non-essential. We have 5 categories of surgery.
Okay.
Category 1 is you're dead, nothing. You cut your finger, you cut yourself, and it needs stitches, and it's in. But category 5 is you're dying. You've got to have this
The
surgery,
staple
or
would
you'll
say,
be
do
dead
it
now.
yourself.
Yeah. And they cancelled all 1s, 2s, and 3s. She was a 4, and they cancelled 4s as well. So basically, they would only operate on you if you were got hit
About
by a
to die.
car and you needed stuff sewn back on right now.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I know they cut out all the electives here as much as they could, and only went down to whatever was important. But, that's a scale. What state are you in?
yeah.
The United
Because
States,
you
they
don't
brought
have
it
anything
down to
called-
what makes money.
It is.
Yes.
Watching how it's interesting how you are letting people die because you don't have coordinated healthcare. People can go. They can go to one hospital, it's full, and then go to another, and just keep going looking for somewhere to go because they're full. It's really weird. They don't die. It's no one's fault. They just couldn't find somewhere to go.
Why did you cancel his surgery? Well, he's not dead yet, is he?
I'm not dead yet. Sure you are. Shut up. Boom.
Be dead by Tuesday. What are you talking about? I feel great.
No, he
I
only comes
have a
once
question.
a week. We got to take him now.
I have a question.
Go, Dave.
The current statistics show that we probably need 80% uptake on the vaccine. Right, the UK, which is obviously going to give it out free to everyone in a relatively organised fashion, we're looking at only 70% to uptake here, and the States is going to be worse. I don't think the States is going to hit 70%. Where's that going to leave us?
Repercussions of all that would mean what?
I don't know. That's kind of what I'm intrigued about. I don't know that we will not reach herd immunity. There was much more chances of more mutated strains coming out.
Right.
I don't.
That's
I
what
don't
I hear.
really know.
It's gonna be like the flu. I can see this turning into you need a shot every freaking year. Mutated strains that just flip in and out, and nobody knows exactly which one's gonna be. We're kind of stuck with it. It's like, social. It's like, I don't know, herpes. It's like, we've got this now as a society, and we're just going to have to learn how to live with it,
Oh, you guys, by the way,
or like not
For-
die
for
with it,
the-
however way you want to look at that.
for the anti-theists in the room, my girlfriend has a question and asked me to ask it, so I'm going to ask it because I'm not going to get in trouble. She wants to know why God and religion has to be connected for atheists, and why people throw out religion and God, or do you throw them out separately, or what?
We don't throw them out separately. That there are lots of people that believe in a religion that are atheist, but the problem is an awful lot of people look at atheists as in the atheists they talk to, and most atheists that we talk to that are American and British are anti-Christian. So everything to do with Christianity it gets thrown out because that's what they know, that's what they grew up with, that's what they that's a lovely hat.
It's beautiful.
I'm
It really
glad-
is.
I preferred the beret. The red beret was nicer.
I'm not quite an anti-theist. I'm open to whatever. I'm just, there's not much out there that I really find personally convincing. So, like, I'm closer to I'm anti-okey doke.
I wouldn't say I'm anti. I mean, if anything, I'm an igtheist. If I actually had to narrow it down,
An
What is that one?
igtheist?
an igtheist. That there is no meaning. There is no meaningful, coherent definition of a god.
I'm a Girl Scout.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, it's a set of ideals.
Yeah, but that you might think so. I can't get a consistent definition out of Christians.
Did
Let
you
alone
try
introducing
reading the book
other.
that the Christians claim to understand? Did you try reading it? It describes the ideals.
Why would what I read about it is kind of meaningless. It's what other people tell me that they believe.
Wait. There's nothing to believe about what wisdom is.
What wisdom is?
It's an objective. It's objective in truth and reality that wisdom is an ideal.
No, it's not.
How is that God?
Wisdom is not an ideal.
Wisdom
Wisdom is a level of experience.
No, now you're talking about how to get wisdom. You're not talking about wisdom.
No, it's a level of experience and that you are able to communicate with the rest of the people around you. You're not wise until you
It's
share
an
what you have
abstract
with-
idea. It doesn't matter how it comes to be or whether or not you get it.
Okay, it's an abstract idea. That doesn't mean that it's the ultimate.
Again, what's that got to do with a God?
Well, that's the first description of God is wisdom.
Speaking of abstract ideas, how about a compilation of people clamoring and sighing while arguing with Richard?
That's fun. I like it.
That would be hilarious because it happens a lot. It's just Richard getting people to stumble over their words.
There is a
And going,
Richard look.
"But I just, I just have to put that out there. When you're arguing with somebody, just sitting back and listening to you get people to trip over their words, it's
I'm not
pure
doing
entertainment.
that.
I love it.
I'm-
I know you're not actively doing that, but it's what you do that gets that to do that to themselves that
I
I
love-
find so entertaining.
Watching people talk to Richard and they automatically fall back on what they think about Christianity, on what they think the Bible means, because that's what they've been taught. And Richard can very clearly explain that that's not what he believes and that's not what he thinks it means. And they still try and argue with him about what traditional Christianity says it says.
It's true.
You're like,
Well,
you're talking about two
Christians say-
completely different things.
That's the only reason I have these conversations with him when we do talk, which, whenever we're working in the house, we talk about stuff and everything else, is because he doesn't say what the Christians say. Because what the Christians say, I find to be bullshit. Just
Can
plain
anyone here
old,
speak?
utter
Can anyone here
bullshit.
speak gibberish? Because I want to know how to say Christian backward. I'm going to start calling myself that. Because it's Christianity, but it's not at all what you think Christianity is.
It doesn't need to be. It's enough. It's taking the text and at the end of the day, you have done something. As much as I consider you mostly batshit crazy, you're lovely
Insane,
stuff.
right?
But,
Right.
Yeah, but the
We all
point
know
is, you have done what I would do. I
That's
cannot deny that. You have reconciled. If you took this text to actually mean something, you have done what I would do. You would find the logic that fits it together. And it
Christian
doesn't fit together. And what you have done is made it work.
Christian backwards is night sick.
I'll work on that.
Yep, Richard put
I
the
was
thing
going to
down,
say it, but
flip
I
it,
was
and
waiting
reverse
for a
it.
pause. Jenny beat me to it.
Yeah. It is more consistent. Your view of Christianity, your Christianity, is more consistent than theirs.
Well,
Yes, it is.
I can't find a place. I've been trying for years, Dave. I can't find where this reading frame doesn't work.
Oh, because you've assumed that it actually means something.
No. That's aside from the point. That's not what makes something work. What makes something work is consistency.
Yeah, but no, you've got the same problem as string
reality.
theory.
What's that?
You've got the same problem as string theory. You've added enough variables that pretty much anything could fit.
No, there's no variables. Sorry, that's just not true.
There are, because you've added the fact if I turn around to you and say that the Bible has to have already taken place and has to have taken place on this planet.
That's very definitive.
It breaks consistency completely. You've added variables of other planets that potentially makes it work.
No, it demands that there's other planets. I didn't add that as a variable.
That's my point. You have that as a variable. They don't have that as a variable.
Okay.
Therefore, they've got to try and make that fit within with those limitations.
Which is just impossible. You can't reconcile the four gospels. That's impossible.
Well, they think you can.
No, have you ever heard the apologetic to reconcile the
I
gospels?
think it's batshit insane.
It can't be done.
Look, we all agreed on something. Dave, write that down. Time and
I
day.
agree. No. The point is, I agree with a lot of what Richard said because his logic makes sense. His underlying assumptions are wrong, but his logic from where he is makes sense.
The logic does make sense. Now, I'm not on board with it, but it makes sense. And it makes more sense than anything I've ever heard in a church. And I've been to like seven different denominations of churches.
Wait. Let's address the necessity versus the luxury of multiple planets. Let's address that real quick. If in the book of Revelation, it's talking about angels and calls them angels. And then it says they already live with God, which it does. And then it says how they earned that was to go through end times, which hasn't happened here. What do you want to do with that?
Okay, so you are completely discounting. You are completely discounting.
Yeah.
That God can exist outside our linear time. That it could have already happened and already.
You're adding a variable that's not. You're adding a non-necessary variable to me.
Apart from the fact that he
don't even need to do that
outside time anyway.
Say it again, Dave.
Does God exist outside time?
And I've got to run, people.
Okay. Thanks for coming, IQ. Love you, man.
Yep. B, Jenny, Richard, Dave. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Say it.
Bye.
Bye. Does in your interpretation, does God exist outside time?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Then
How could something?
Well, okay, that's my biggest argument. When I'm arguing with Christians, that's where I go.
Look, Dave, here's what they did. My daddy's bigger than yours, and here's why. Oh, yeah? Well, mine's bigger than that, and here's why. And it got so crazy, they have to claim God is a disembodied mind, not subject to time outside of the universe. That is not in the text anywhere.
You just made me go back to the fact that they do the thing of the King of Kings of Kings of Kings.
Well, sure he is.
Of kings
so
10
much
times removed.
I know.
Just like a grandparent is a grandparent of a son who has a son who has, yeah, of course, it's just a lineage.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's not that it's a lineage. It's literally done. Well, he's our king. He's the best one. Well, he's the King of Kings. Well, ours is the King of Kings.
That's what they do. You're right.
That's exactly what they do. And the worst thing is I thought they'd stopped. I thought they'd stopped adding this shit. And I watched a fucking Catholic thing a few weeks ago. And they're all fucking coming out. And he truly is. And there's fucking like 7 of them. Of the King of Kings of Kings of Kings of Kings. And I'm like, what the fuck? How is this not just a fucking 7-year-old talking?
I like to ask people, what's the minimum God you would actually think is still a God? What's the minimum God? Let's talk about that. Let's lower the bar a little bit and get out of the playground.
Again, you're back to why I'm an atheist.
Whoa. Why would I think that there is such thing as a God, period? Why would I even imagine what a God has to be when I don't?
Well, that's good rhetoric, but it's not the question. I mean, that's good rhetoric, but it's not the question.
The question.
Okay, this rhetoric, fine. Let's go.
Wait there. What have you still have to define? What is it? Something? Are you asking what would we call a God, At what
Sure,
point?
I'm asking you for your personal opinions. Like,
Have
what
you
do
watched any
think?
Stargate yet?
I know what Stargate is. Yeah.
I mean, the point is, the people worshipped those aliens as God. They were more powerful. They were more
Right.
powerful than us, but they weren't really gods. As soon
course
as you,
not.
because they had nothing. See, this is the problem. This is where, again, I don't think there's anything. I think you were basically on the level of having to create a fucking universe.
See, I don't think we can do this exercise because we've all been spoiled by the Christianity view of God and definition of God of perfection and love and slavery and.
I mean, what about the Greek gods?
What about them?
The drunk incest bound people?
Would you consider those gods?
Well, yes, but you have to also take into consideration what the word God to those people meant.
What did the word God to those people mean?
Well, did you want to talk about specifically like Greek?
I don't know enough. My memory on any of them. Go with Thor, because there's bits in my head about that at the moment. He's a thunder god. He can travel across the fucking bridge. He's not all powerful.
That's right.
I think he's immortal. I might be wrong.
He's half. He's half and half.
Half and half.
He's half God, half man.
Half immortal?
No, he's half God, half man. He becomes immortal.
Do you think is he a god?
Yes, in the way that he was telling an extremely important story that people needed to know.
So you think the story is what makes him a god?
Which is often what God means.
Nerdy says, what about the Lovecraft god? Is Rover god a god? What's Rover god?
What's the word? I can't see it.
Oh, I'll put it up for you. Hold on.
So what we're
ROVAGUG.
is that every god is legitimate and has equal status. The Scientology God is no different than the God of the Christians. No doubt.
Well,
the God of any Abrahamic religion.
I think that's reasonable, Jenny. But what we have to be considerate of in that is what society are we talking about? What does the word God mean to them, and what is that God trying to do? Not what does it say? What is the story doing?
Well, Steve,
I'm unsure. What are you trying to guide us to the root of saying that a god? I'm just about to declare Richard a god. Are you saying that what's happening is that a god is someone who tries to guide a civilization, a people, to a certain destination?
Well, that is certainly not a Judaic conception of God, unless you get into like the Orthodox Jews, in which case you might be kind of right. But in many parts of the world, that's what a god does.
there are Christians who have a hands on God, and there's Christians who don't have a hands on God.
Yeah, there's variations within Christianity. Yes, that's true.
Can I say that this conversation is very much leading into my demonstrating why I'm an atheist?
Sure, go ahead.
No, this is it.
Oh, okay. Because it's just too freaking confusing?
No, just because there is not a meaningful definition.
Wait. That's not true. They are all meaningful definitions, meaningful to the people of that time and that place.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that.
That
but
doesn't
in terms
mean
of
it has to be
working out-
meaningful to you in every religion throughout time.
No.
If you do that, you're really open-minded, like huge.
Right. My point is that there is no definition of God that is you can hammer down. The Bible does not. You look at just within Christianity the different qualities that they say God has or doesn't have, and then try to say, does God exist? Well, which fucking one? Again, even within Christianity.
Good question.
That's my point. That's why I'm saying there's no meaningful, coherent definition because there's lots of definitions.
Okay, so let me present the God of the Bible as I read it from the Bible and see if it makes sense to you. Okay. Everybody in heaven, all the prophets, all the messengers, everybody says, "Don't worship me, worship God," and they all say that unanimously. Okay. And then you can ask the question, well, what is God to them? And in writing, they describe it. And it's a series of ideas that are valued as ideals that have to happen in a certain order because they naturally progress that way through a human being. And those would be wisdom, knowledge, counsel, understanding, fear, power, and conservation. Okay? So that's the quote unquote 7 spirits of God. Now, are there implications after that? Yes, so many. So many.
Jealousy.
If you did all those things, if you thought all those things were valuable, if you practiced them in your everyday life, you would be things like, I don't know, forgiving.
Again, no, I've got to go back to jealousy. Where is jealousy? Because that pretty much comes first in the commandments.
Time out. You are committing a presentist fallacy if you object to the word jealousy, and here's why. Do you know why the word jealousy is Jeal?
No.
Because it's rooted in the same word as zealous. What jealous means is to be passionate about it. It doesn't mean to be freaking out and beating up her boyfriend. It means to be passionate.
You will have no other. I am a jealous God. I
am a passionate God. And if you don't have feelings for me like I have feelings for you, I got issue with that.
So let me smite the entire planet and drown you all.
Okay, the word drown right there means there's a huge mass.
No, we don't want to go this way. I know where this one goes.
The word waters right there, and I can quote from Revelation where there's a red letter quote from Jesus saying that the waters that you have seen are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. The word waters in the flood means a big group of people. Now, if you want to say that 7.75 billion is not a big group of people, I'm okay with it, but I would disagree.
So he built the boat to lay on top of all these people, or they're going to hold it up, or?
Yes, they do. They do hold up the boat because the boat is representative of the house of Noah, and Noah's the father of all. That is, the boat is representative of the father of all's house. And all I have to say is Christians think the story of Noah is important. And I've already had that Noah's ark is lifted up over the waters. I've already got that as a fact.
Well, it's no more, no less important than the flood story from any of the ancient cultures that have a flood story, which is most.
Although some of the flood stories are telling there's a different purpose in the story than that one. But yeah, there's a lot of flood stories. That's true. But they're not all doing the same thing. But there's a lot of overlap. A lot of them are doing exactly that same thing.
Can you answer me a question?
I don't know. I haven't heard the question. How the heck would I be able to answer that, Dave?
Why is it not called the Book of Enkidu?
Why is what not called the Book of Enkidu?
The Book of Enoch.
You mean Gilgamesh, right?
Yes, sorry, Gilgamesh.
Why is it not called the Book of Enkidu? What's that?
Yes, you knew what I was talking about.
I want to be sure. I'm not trying to guess what you're saying. I'm not trying to sharpshoot you. No, it's cool. It's cool. I know that you're brilliant and have a brain dysfunction. And yes, those two can happen at the same time. I know. Okay. All right. So why isn't it called the Book of Enkidu instead of the Book of Gilgamesh? That's like saying, why isn't it called the Book of Jesus instead of the Book of God? Because the overall topic in the Bible is God, not Jesus. Now, Jesus got a lot to do with it. There's a lot of intervention. You got a person walking around doing stuff. That's great. But he's not the point of the story.
I know a couple of billion people that disagree with you, but I accept your point.
Okay, fair enough. No, the point of the story is for the story to bring people into a certain mindset and in a certain time frame. That's what the book is doing. Has it done it yet? Obviously not.
Where did we get sidetracked from? No, I don't know. We sidetracked like 3 sidetracks again.
I don't know.
I don't know, but it's starting to get dinner time, and Jenny already ate. I'm jealous. I'm
Almost bedtime.
Don't be. It was just a microwave warm shit up.
That's all I do.
that all
I
the
don't know how to
time.
cook. I can't
Except
cook.
I don't use a microwave. But yeah, I do that all the time, Jenny.
She uses a convection, like a really small contained convection oven thingy. What's it called?
Air fryer.
An air fryer. That's it.
How'd you make tea?
In an air fryer, you use the coffee pot.
Yes. I don't use the air fryer to make tea. Boy, that cup would be hot. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Spill hot water
I
everywhere.
make my tea with microwaved water.
Right on.
No, I just use my
You
coffee
can't
pot.
make tea with microwaved water.
Why not?
Well, because it's wrong on a. I've lost every single word I had to describe. It's wrong on a theological level. It's wrong on a physical level. It's wrong on an emotional level. It's just wrong.
I think
See,
you're jealous, Dave.
he's not faking the accent. He's really
the difference between a microwave vibrating atom and a flame-based vibrating atom.
It's meant to be boiling.
You can make boil in a microwave, and you be better.
microwave will boil water, no problem. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just
You can
wrong. You
superheat
need a
water in a
kettle.
microwave.
Although I have to say I don't feel like my coffee pot gets my water hot enough for tea. It's very disappointing. By the time it's steeped, it's kind of not hot anymore.
The problem is it's too hot. Normally, things that are hot enough for tea are too hot for coffee.
Right.
Right.
I think I'm gonna get one of those little plug-in
Electric
teapot
kettle.
water warmer. Yes, thank you.
Are those
Doesn't coffee want
acceptable?
Like 165.
Yeah, that's what you're meant to use.
Yeah.
You're meant to use that. Okay.
A little electric
Actually-
kettle.
I was at work and I saw one in a resident's place, and I looked and thought I should get one of those.
Yes.
Dave, would you agree with me that Americans are confused because first they make their tea hot, then they make it cold, then they make it sweet, then they make it sour?
They make it sour?
Oh yeah, that we put lemon in it.
Oh well, yeah. No,
Oh,
lemon's okay, depending on the kind of tea.
Yeah, okay, you can.
Not-
I mean,
not
the
all-
whole
not all
cold is
bad
weird to me.
flavors.
But the cold is just, I just do not know what is wrong with you people. I'm just fucking.
There, that's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to get out of you right there. There it was. Thank you.
I don't drink cold coffee either.
Ox, the theist would have
certainly
had
don't
to
put-
come first, or you couldn't have an
Don't
atheist.
put cream in anything. Good Lord.
Maybe.
No, Sandy, a kettle on the stove is totally adequate. As long as it's a kettle.
Yeah,
I mean,
kettle,
it's very
not
weird.
cattle on the
I'll
stove.
accept
Don't put a cow on the
kettle.
stove.
No.
What are we
You don't
doing?
put-
Sacrifices
I've
on the
seen
altar
Americans
here? What's
do
going
that.
on?
I've seen Americans, I've seen photographs. I'm assuming they're Americans because they were taking the piss out of them, but they might not have been. They could have been from fucking anywhere. But I've seen photographs of people putting electric kettles onto the hob,
Shut the front door.
and they melt spectacularly.
Don't they? You know what also
Imagine
melts
that.
really cool? I have a story. So I was 15-ish years old, and I was visiting our oldest sister, and she was working every day, and I was down there for like I don't know 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get dinner ready. So I like cut everything up, and I got everything ready. And I got on this big, got everything laid out, preheated the oven, smelled something funny, opened it up. She stored her Tupperware in the oven. And never told me. I melted all of her Tupperware. I had to scrape it off. We had microwave leftovers. But anyways, I had to scrape the freaking plastic off of the inside of the oven. It was everywhere.
Who puts plastic in their oven for storage? Come on.
Wendy.
Oh yeah, well I guess there's her. Yeah, she does. Okay.
Yeah. She did. I don't think she does
We-
that anymore. Yeah, lessons learned.
We do that, but we remove the plastic before we use the oven.
Oh, that's a novel idea. Or when someone's going to use your oven, do you tell them there's plastic in it? That's a good idea too.
Well,
That's probably the key to success in that.
Did
That
they
sounds
know you
wise.
were going to use the oven?
I don't know what the rest of the world does, but here in Canada, we normally look inside an oven before we turn it on.
Weird.
Are you in the
Weird.
new studio?
Oh, but did you miss the part where I said I was 15?
Yeah.
They're checking, but in Canada, they're just checking to see if any wild poutine got in there first before they cook them.
That's
Richard.
exactly right. And possible maple syrup, too.
Randolph, are you in the new studio?
No goose, no Mountie.
I'm at a client site.
Okay, that's fine. I was really worried about your echo.
I'm going to take off.
That was the new studio.
Thank you for coming, Jenny.
Good to see you,
No, I
Jenny.
love you.
Bye.
Or maybe the echo's a little better now. I got to drill some holes in the wall in a sec, in the brick wall here, so I'll be muting when I do that.
Well, that's good.
I hope so.
That's good.
What
I
you were
don't want to
asking
hear
about-
that. I've heard enough of that over the last month.
Yeah, what you're asking about tea earlier, I didn't know people were cooling it down after heating it up. That sounds
Of course we
odd.
do. And in the United States, you do.
Huh? Why do you do that?
Well, iced
Well,
tea.
First we make it hot, then we make it cold, then we make it sweet, then we make it sour. It's not a joke. We actually do that.
And then you make it hot again, right?
No, you drink it cold.
No, it's iced tea.
It's called
Oh,
we
iced-
call it iced tea. Yeah.
Oh, iced tea. We have iced tea here too, but we usually don't make it ourselves. We just buy it in the store. It's already cold. Okay.
But Theo,
Heat it up first.
will that survive the oven? Put one of those expensive piece of Tupperware in the oven. Let me know how it comes out. Microwave and
might-
oven is two different things.
It might be silicone.
Yeah,
If it's
maybe.
silicone, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, silicone survives all kinds of crap. Makes you wonder what it's made out of and why we eat off of it. But
It's
anyway,
made out of silicone, Beth.
I was just going to say.
right? But I meant the actual chemical makeup.
Oh,
I don't know what
I
that
don't-
is.
Well,
Mostly
from what I
pure
understand, from what I understand, it's literally silicates.
Hey, Randy's
Oh.
here. Yeah. Hello.
Probably still not a good
Hello.
thing to eat.
Probably not a
Oh
good thing
my
to eat.
God! 2 miracles in one day. I have a harmonica on my stream.
Nice.
Dave, date and time. Write it down. I'm gonna keep doing this to you. Oh, you gotta do it for Randolph too. Dave, date and time. Write it down.
Yep.
Oh,
I don't see Dave bouncing right now, but he's usually bouncing on his ball.
normally, if I've got an icon, I'm lying on the sofa on the laptop.
Your sofa doesn't bounce, does it?
Look, there you
That's
go.
like
Thanks,
very-
Randy.
Very bouncy, but not when I'm lying down. Well,
Good. Thank you, Randy. That
not when
helps.
I'm lying down.
Does that make you feel better, Randolph? Yeah, I gotta
There's
go
something-
sideways a little bit.
There's something soothing about the way
Hamana,
Dave
hamana,
does
hamana,
it.
hamana, 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 hamana.
Because it's the way he's smirking when he does it.
Well, that's for a whole nother reason. But anyway,
Oh,
Touche, my brother. Touche.
thanks for letting me on your show for a minute. I love you. I love you all. Peace and respect to you all. And do have lots of fun and good night.
Richard, it's
I'm gonna-
fantastic to see you again.
Good to
I love
see
you,
you
brother.
too.
Thanks for coming in.
I like him. He's nice.
Nice talking, Richard.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Like I always tell him, I can't agree with
Yep.
everything he says, but it makes more sense to me than most crap I hear. So
I first
I got to
met
give him
on,
that much.
I first met him on Justin Downing's The EA show.
EA show, yep.
That's where I first encountered him, and he wants to get me on his show to just. He says he wants to pick my brains, so. I guess I should get that appointment with a neurologist first to make sure that'll be okay. So
If we all had to have
Well, it
a
seems to
sheet
me-
from a neurologist, none of us would be in here at all. We'd all be somewhere off.
Hey,
We'd
Peter!
all be on Twitch
Mhm.
or something or TikTok. Hi,
Hi,
Peter.
Peter.
Hello.
It's like Grand
Thanks for
Central
coming.
Station here. People coming and going.
I was.
Well, I
was-
think we
I was
live in
wondering-
an
Okay.
area where I'm sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
No, I was wondering if anyone could tell me how the 19th president of the United States is doing at the moment. Is he settling in?
Dead.
All right.
Very, very dead.
The 19th? Is that what you
I
said?
caught that on a news
The
strip
19th,
earlier.
yes. You didn't catch that? I mean, he's about to be inaugurated today.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I-
didn't they arrest a bunch of people who were going to kind of take over the Capitol when that happened or something?
I don't know. I was so busy making a video about it, which I put on Twitter. Yeah. People need to read
Yeah.
their Bible.
Those people are idiots.
No.
Trump-
So
Trump's
the,
an idiot. It's all idiotic.
Oh, yeah.
no, they changed it. So the inauguration used to be on March 4th, and then they changed it. So all presidents since were illegal. And so now Trump, because he has won the election, is going to be inaugurated today as the 19th president of the United States,
Sorry,
according
you're-
to QAnon.
Peter.
QAnon.
Peter, you're thinking of the wrong election. That was over 4 years ago.
No. That's today.
Wow! All that, huh?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's
That's what I heard.
It's exciting to be alive today. I mean, all,
Kids,
all
disclaimer
of
for all the
things.
children out there. This is what happens to your brain when you're on drugs. Don't do drugs. Well,
What?
smoke some
You
pot,
said-
but don't do the hard shit.
Are you saying I'm on drugs?
No,
look-
I'm
look-
talking about the conspiracy theorists.
Look at
Never
my
down to
picture.
the 19th president. That's just ridiculous.
He's the shadow president, isn't he?
No, he's
I
the
wish
real-
he was a shadow.
They've been saying he's a shadow president. He's running
They-
Joe Biden from behind the scenes. Biden's just a front. That's one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
theories I
Yeah,
heard. Yeah.
They cast him in gold. I mean, what else do you
the hell
need?
was with
Well,
that?
okay, they didn't cast him in gold. They cast a statue from some kind of burger franchise in gold, I think. But never mind.
Oh, and the
It was-
golden
it was
statue
gold.
of Trump going around in CPAC. I heard about that.
Yes.
I saw some pictures. It looks very weird.
Yeah, he also wore shorts. So I'm now thinking that
The hell did
maybe
they
Gavin.
do? Chisel out a big boy?
Well, at least he was wearing pants.
Yeah, I
it
think
it
Gavin.
does look a lot like a big boy. It really does. Without the burger, and they put American flag pants on him and a camouflage jacket to make him a little bit more
Yep.
America.
And they put Gavin Herman
military.
in charge of Trump's wardrobe, so that's good. I mean,
I'm not even touching that one.
Is this person
no,
a 5-year-old?
that's what his wife said, and left. Okay,
I want to know when she's getting divorced.
What?
His wife?
Yeah.
Never. You know
Is-
damn
is-
well that he's got a prenup and she's not going to get a dime. She's not stupid.
I
All she has
think
to do is,
she,
like,
I
suck
think
his
she
dick
could
once a
sell a
month or
book. I think
something.
she could sell a book and make more money than he's got in within days.
Well, see, you know,
Yes.
that's the thing, too. People always say, oh, Trump's rich. No, Trump has assets. He doesn't own shit. There's a lot of banks that own his shit.
I
Dave,
think
Dave-
Trump
He has
is rich
nothing.
now.
Mhm.
I think
Dave,
Trump is.
I heard she already had the title for that book. It's called I Write Book.
Oh, Peter. Bad Peter. Bad Peter.
What?
Stop that shit.
it can't get any worse than I tweeted
Wrong.
a video about her a
Well,
while
everybody
ago.
knows when she first came to the United States that she, like, posed nude and shit just to make money because she wasn't a citizen.
Well, okay, so now we're going to bash immigrants. Well, you sound
No,
like
no, no,
Trump.
no, no.
Oh wait,
No.
wait.
I'm just
Trump-
saying,
Trump doesn't-
people want to act like they're perfect.
He was a model.
Perfect.
Well, I saw the pictures. It wasn't perfect.
No, it wasn't
Just-
perfect.
just-
It
just
wasn't too
saying.
bad, though.
It was enhanced. A lot.
I'd pay for that.
Let's keep it at that.
Yep.
She might be part American. Who knows?
Just a
I don't
little
know.
tiny
Really,
bit
none
at
of
the time.
nope. Nobody on
Two-
this stream is part American.
Two tiny parts.
We're all immigrants.
Two tiny
Any of
parts.
us that are here are immigrants. Two tiny parts.
Yep.
I like that.
Yes.
Are you sure they were sourced in America?
That's why I said she might be. I'm not sure. I have no clue.
Now we're
And-
right back
and-
to silicone Tupperware.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, I need
give
to
me a
say
couple weeks, I'll
I'm
spank it
really
out of her.
sad. I'm really sad I missed Granny, because the moment you started the stream, B, I got a DM from Florida Line, and let me get the DM.
Peter, did you see this?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, okay. He was like, damn, I didn't know he was
Lo-
coming on.
Long story.
Yeah.
No, so Florida Line said, "Oh my God, I just listened to the first 21 minutes of SJ's chat with Godless Granny, and I'm laughing my ass off. Granny has SJ
wrapped
all
SJ.
confused."
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
told
she had her
her,
going in some circles. Yeah.
I told her, Granny's on B's show now. I'll watch it as soon as I can, but B's show is still going, so I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my playlist.
I just let people talk. I don't care. When everybody gets silent, looks at each other like, does somebody else have something to say? Then I cut it off. I don't care.
I always have enough to say.
Yeah.
Latest news on Sides and Bruggencate. Anyone know?
No, do you?
I've always got
Yes.
something stupid to say.
What?
Yes.
What do you know?
There was a thing with a fellow church member.
Male
disclosed,
variety?
not disclosed as of yet. I've looked through the entire article, but no, it's
So it's either going to be male, married, someone else.
In a statement to the Roy's Report, Faith Presbyterian pastor Steve Richardson said that Tim Bruggencate confessed a troubling circumstance to the church on Sunday, involving Tim Bruggencate and a congregation member. The situation happened in the past and is not ongoing, Richardson said. After a 40-hour investigation, the church had ample cause to ask Tim Bruggencate to step away from ministry and cease taking the Lord's Supper. Whatever that is. The church's inquiry will continue. So, who knows?
It could be someone that was underage.
Oh, probably they were all watching video now. Who knows? We don't know.
Oh, we want to know. We've got to know. He's so arrogant.
Canada's hottest home videos, I guess. Something like that.
I wonder how it came out.
He told them. I just read. Didn't you listen to me?
Yeah, but that, you don't
never,
all of a sudden tell
You
people.
never listen to me, Dave. That's your problem.
Because it
You
doesn't
never-
come out like you. No. It doesn't come out like that. You don't just all of a sudden today decide I'm going to confess to something from the long past.
Steve Richardson said that Tim Bruggencate confessed a troubling circumstance to the church on Sunday. Anything unclear about the fact that he just told them last
Yes, but
Sunday?
he wouldn't have just told them. Something will have.
Yeah, something did come up. I think that was part of the thing that he was telling.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the confession that something came up.
Well, I think you're right, but my point
What is it with
is I
those
think
idiots always wanting to play a game of rumpled foreskin with the wrong person?
But is it someone underage? I want it to be a guy. I really do.
You do, right?
Yeah.
I said this on Twitter. I talked to him for quite a while offline when he was on my channel, and we got into a fairly friendly conversation. We talked about him going to his family in Holland and stuff like that. We even spoke in Dutch. It would really surprise me if it would be a man, and I'd be horrified if it would be someone underage.
Well, the fact that they haven't got the police involved but have gone public makes me think if it's someone underage, it's probably someone just underage. A 17-year-old.
No, don't think that about the religious communities. Look at the church trying to sweep everything under the rug and hide things.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to think good of them. I'm trying to think good of them.
Given the history of so many religious institutions trying to take the law into their own hands and keep police out of it, this is the last thing in my mind.
Keep in mind, he deserves punishment from God, not from humans. That's what they think.
Hey, how's it going?
Kitty.
Hi, Kitty.
Hi, Kitty. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. Tired,
Hi, Kitty.
kind of tired. It's been a long day.
Yeah, well,
Kitty, we haven't spoken since. Did Mel send you that movie that you wanted to watch a while back?
I don't remember. I honestly do not remember at all.
There
I don't even remember what movie it was.
I'll have to ask Mel. I sent it to Mel, and Mel would send it to you. So,
which Mel?
Right.
Scientist Mel.
Scientist Mel.
Is there another Mel?
Yeah, there's a male Mel out there somewhere, but I don't remember who the hell he is or where he's from. I thought maybe he was from your end of YouTube or something. I don't know.
Brooks, he's a filmmaker.
I'm wearing my Harley Quinn hoodie.
Nice. Oh yeah.
And on the inside, it's reversible. The inside is the Joker.
Oh wow.
Oh.
So like you can take it off and flip it around and do the Joker. So for
I never
the
take
nerdy,
it off and flip it around. I just stay on course.
Hey, I mean that's how you get it done though. You gotta be hyper focused. Get to that destination. Sexual innuendo aside, for Gigi's Nerd Topic stream, I did Harley Quinn with one pink eye and one blue. Tonight, since I'm wearing my black and red Harley Quinn hoodie, I went for the black and red Harley Quinn eyeshadow. So,
how do you girly girls do all that shit? I just don't get it. Anyways, you guys were saying.
Yeah. I didn't even shave my head for this. Shit.
I didn't shave either, man. My girlfriend noticed. She told me about it.
Honestly, I can't remember the last time I shaved my legs. I wear long socks every day, and I don't have anybody to impress. To be fair, I don't like being hairy though. I'm just fortunate that I have very fine, pale hair, and it doesn't grow very fast on my legs. So I don't have to shave all the time.
God, I'm so jealous.
I've never shaved my legs.
Yes,
You should.
I'll
It's
just
very itchy when it goes back in.
I'll just keep quiet during this topic.
Oh,
But no,
you've got a secret to hide, do you?
Might be best. No. So I'm
He's the swimmer. Leave
evidence.
him alone.
I'm evidence we evolved from apes. Let's keep it at that.
He's saying he's a hairy motherfucker.
So am I.
You know what? It takes all kinds. Me personally, I don't want any hair below here. I don't like body hair.
But when I shave it off, people think I have cancer or something. Are you a leukemia patient? No, I'm just tired.
That's horrible. I hate
I
people.
literally had somebody ask me if I had cancer one time because I had my head shaved. I'm like, no, I shaved it because my sister has cancer, actually. So I was trying to make her feel better because she lost her beautiful hair, so I shaved my head off. Yeah. Not
That's
quite
so
down to
sweet.
where Randy is, but it was pretty damn low. Yeah.
I've had short hair before. Actually, I at one point, actually several points, I would grow my hair out long and then I would get sick of it and I would cut it super short to a pixie cut, where all of this is gone. It's basically, cut to here. So I've got, it's up off my neck, and then it's
back,
cute,
right.
and it's it's spiky, where I can do little spiky stuff and color it in the front. So it's long in the front, but it only comes to about here, and then it tapers off in the back where it's completely up off my neck. That's I'm over it haircut.
I cut mine down. I did a nothing on the sides with trimmer, and then did the top down to a 1, or maybe it was a 1.5, 2, somewhere in there. And I went to visit my sister when she had cancer, and she said, "Did you cut your hair off?" And hers was starting to grow back out. And I said, "Well, you can't have the shortest hair in this family. I'm the lesbian, damn it." So I gave her a good laugh.
Great line.
I would honestly just cut it shorter all the time, but my girlfriend's like, "Nah, man, that is as low as you're allowed. I'm not allowed to. I've been told the rules."
Why did the sperm cross the road?
To get to the other ovary?
It was stuck on the wrong sock.
No, because I wore the wrong sock this morning.
Damn it.
Oh my god. Okay, there'll be no more of that shit. That's even too low for my channel. And I go low, man.
I was gonna say, B, you gotta have enough hair that you can run your fingers through it.
Yeah, that's her complaint. It's too short. I'm like, it's long. There's a handful. You can grab it. I think that's all that matters.
I actually it was funny. Like, this was a while back, before my son gave me the haircut, the involuntary haircut. I was in the car. This was before the pandemic. I'm in the car with my partner, and I was like, I think I'm brushing my hair out. And I was like, I think this is the longest my hair has been with you. And, we had just gotten to where we were going, and, like, I'm in the car brushing my hair out before we go inside. And he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, no, I think it's the longest it's been since you and I got together. So then he takes it, wraps it around his fist, and yanks my head back. He's like, no, you're right.
Well, that's what I keep saying. Do you need more than to yank me around with?
I mean,
I don't think it's necessary.
I enjoy it, but, like, to each their own.
And on the other side of the flip side of that coin, I also told her she's not allowed to cut hers any shorter. So I guess we both have preferences there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's okay.
I mean, it's her choice whether to listen or not. I don't have a choice. But it's okay. We know this. It's fine. We can all accept the feminine person in any relationship is in charge. We all know that. So
I don't know.
Whoever's in charge is the more effeminate one. So if a guy's in charge, I think he's a bitch. No, I'm kidding.
I honestly don't know. Like, it's one thing to have your preferences, and as long as it's a playful, you're not allowed to. But once it gets into, like, if it's, like, enforced.
No, I'm just playing around.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, that's what, this is a fine
Well,
line.
I'm good
think
being
that
single. Yeah,
it's
I wouldn't put
letting-
up with that shit.
It's letting your partner know what your likes and dislikes are. That way you don't come home and see her standing there, hey, do you like my bullshit here? And you're like, ugh. Sure, honey.
Well,
Nobody wouldn't get laid if that happened.
welcome to my life. I get up in the morning next to a blonde, and later in the day, a black-haired woman walks in, or a redhead, or a brunette, or...
See,
blue.
I'm okay with all of it, but I don't
boy.
like redheads. Sorry, not into redheads. And no offense, Kitty, not much of a blonde kind of person either.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I've had every
I'll be
color
right
of the
back.
rainbow, but
I love redheads.
the two colors that I do the
Something
most
about redheads just drives me wild.
are red and blonde. Those
Oh, go
are
ahead, Kitty.
actually, like, my two main colors. But I also do, like, different funky colors. Like, I've done black and purple and blue and green and pink, obviously, red, like fire engine red. Like, I've done pretty much every color except orange.
Oh, so
like,
you like
I
to
had an
experiment.
auburny color.
You hate Dutch people. Just say it out loud. You hate Dutch people.
We hate Dutch people.
The Dutch
Actually,
are so
one of
evil.
my favorite YouTubers
Powers.
actually is a Dutch woman, Nikki Tutorials.
Nikki Tutorials.
Mhm.
I've heard
And
that
she does
name.
her Dutch word of the day every day. She's a makeup artist. And so
Oh, okay.
she does different makeup looks. She's really funny and sweet. And if you hear her speak, you don't actually think that, she's Dutch. Like, she sounds like an American, but
Mhm.
she's never lived here. Like, she lives there, and, she'll do her Dutch word of the day, so you can learn, like, little vocab words for Dutch. And I think it's really cool.
I think so. Has she done a compilation of those Dutch words in one video at some point?
Maybe, but I know she did a few videos fully in Dutch with English subtitles. And then she's had some of her friends and family on the channel speaking Dutch. And she was also, there was like an awards something over there that she was like a part of as like a presenter or something, I think. But yeah, no, Nikki Tutorials is hilarious. And like, she seems like such a lovely person. I would
Hey,
love
your
to meet
mic
her
is on.
someday.
How's your Dutch coming along?
Not great.
Kunnen we wel even testen en ik kan gewoon overgaan in het Nederlands. Dan zou je me moeten kunnen begrijpen.
Be happy. Your microphone is on.
I think she took her headset off.
Yeah, she's taking her headset off.
So I don't know that she can hear.
I'm just hoping that people kept talking.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm trying to talk like over whatever it is on
we
the
have
phone.
we have to keep talking so people can't hear
I was
what
going to
she's
say
doing.
earlier,
We need-
Kitty,
Respect your privacy.
The reason why you're tired is because you were out in the daylight, and that's just unnatural.
Yeah,
for you.
no, definitely that. Also, the fact that my son decided that, you know, he didn't want to go to sleep until 2 in the morning, and then I had to get up and leave the house, and I've been gone all day. I just got home at like 6:30 and sat down, did my makeup because, you know, I knew B was streaming, and I know Will and Jen are going to be streaming later, so I wanted to be all pretty for them.
Oh.
One moment, please.
Randolph, you're beginning to like. You're beginning to look like Gavin. Your waist is on camera all the time. You shouldn't do that. It's
Hey, Gina.
You know.
Okay.
Hey, what
Hey,
But the thing is, I'm wearing pants.
Yeah, you're wearing pants. Thank God you're wearing pants.
Gavin doesn't wear pants on the streams when
B.
he debates.
The maintenance tech.
And for those who aren't
I
familiar
just
with
did, honey. It's B, the
Gavin,
maintenance tech. What's up? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep talking. Like, sorry, Randolph, I just don't know. Like, she can't hear us, and I feel really bad. So,
no, and we're all talking, which is good.
yeah, even if we're just talking past each other, like it's
Will
kind
somebody
of,
put it in
hey,
the
let's make a bunch
chat
of
just in case
noise.
she's looking? Or
But
he's looking
as
in
far
the
as
chat?
as far as this Gavin guy goes, I debated with him a while ago.
Is he him?
He stood up at the end of the stream, revealing to everyone he wasn't wearing any pants, nothing below the waist. It was
Ooh,
yeah. So that's what all the pants
wow.
jokes are about. If you're
I'm wearing pants. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, they're leggings and they're like thermal leggings because I was a
Okay,
little bit chilly.
let me call because
yeah, I think she
Jeffrey-
can't hear us. She's still dealing
No.
with.
Yeah.
No, I'm
so-
not.
Yeah.
I live like that.
But
So
I
Yeah, I'm like 40
absolutely,
minutes away.
absolutely
Let me call Jeffrey
love
and see if he can bring
these
you
leggings here. They're
Oh,
like
yeah.
really
card or
lightweight, super
something.
stretchy, and super soft. But they're
Okay,
also
let me-
like
let me-
really
let me call
surprisingly
somebody
warm
and
for
see if we
something
can
that
get
is
to it.
so like thin.
No, I know, honey. I know.
and
Let me-
You just
stretchy.
casually lift your leg up.
he's
Camera
going to
rate.
be Gavin's going to be so jealous.
Oh, hell.
I mean, like
I'm gonna
Bee's
try
not
to
here to
send-
see it, but
I'm
I
gonna
put
try
my
to
foot
send our
behind my
host
head
Twitter
just
can
for
get,
her.
if I can't get a hold of somebody, I'll call you back. Okay.
No, like one of the things that I've done
What's the deal
to
with you young
maintain my
people
range
being
of
so
motion.
doggone athletic?
Okay, no problem, honey. You're welcome.
Well, I mean, I was a
You know,
dancer and I did
here's my foot.
gymnastics and martial arts.
It's your foot.
But
Martial arts is
before
important.
my disability, and now I maintain my range of motion by doing exercises to stretch and make sure to stretch every single day.
That's good.
So, because if I don't, then everything gets really locked up and I have less range of motion and more trouble moving. So I still can put my foot behind my head back when, you know, like I was a dancer and a gymnast and did martial arts and tried out for the cheerleading squad, realized that all of the stereotypes about them being bitches were absolutely spot on and said, fuck this, I'm out. Like I made the team and I'm like, nope,
Yep.
I'm not doing this.
Yep.
Hey!
Yeah,
Hey, babe.
what kind of martial arts were you in?
It was a local school that he drew from multiple disciplines, so it was a mixed martial arts. But there
That's
was some karate, some judo, and little taekwondo. Were kind of the three main schools. I was a scrappy
Right.
little
You probably
bitch.
got
Like
into
if
a
I
little
got
bit
you down to the
of
mat, if I got you down to the mat, I made you my bitch. Like I was wiry and
honey, I'm so
flexible
sorry to bother you.
and
Check on Jeffrey. Gina called me and she lost her freaking key card. She's drunk. and
I sent her a message
Okay.
on Twitter. I hope she sees Twitter.
We-
yeah.
I'm not gonna-
Anybody got her phone number? They can text her.
I tried Twitter as well. I don't think
Michael-
she's looking at Twitter. So we need
Hold
to keep
on.
talking,
I'm gonna
and we
connect-
need
Yeah.
to keep
connect
talking
to her
really,
cat.
really.
Does anybody
Like
know
we
her
just
phone
talk
number?
over each other. Doesn't matter. Just la di da di da. Yeah. No. Like totally. Like hey.
Maintain that
Anything to
flexibility. It's very
distract.
important. Yeah. It's actually good
Okay,
for
you
your
both
health.
have to keep that. Okay.
But no, I could still put both my feet behind
Thank
my
you,
head.
honey. I'm sorry to bother you. I feel better. Bye. All right, bye.
Wow.
Just for a demonstration, but everyone will shut up if you do.
Right, and I don't want people to shut up, so that's why I'm not doing it. Plus, B would get mad if she missed it.
Yeah.
B,
Yeah,
do you hear
true.
us? B, do you hear us?
Nope, she's
You
not
gotta
there
you
yet.
gotta mute yourself. Yeah, whistling might work.
I
Hey!
don't know.
Enter your mailbox number.
Nope.
No, fuck. Alright, this is gonna have to become a
Enter your
meme.
mailbox number.
Like, honestly, it's gonna have to become a meme.
Yes.
It's gonna be right up there with all those Zoom meeting videos, so that you gotta
Yeah,
put your
it's
feet
like,
behind your head now. That'll make it work. Yeah.
It's like, Mike's not muted. Quick, somebody put their leg behind their freaking head.
Oh boy.
Invalid security
Oh,
code.
goodness gracious.
Well, good for ratings, I'm sure.
So how's everybody's days been? Like, it's been a while since I've chatted with everybody.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I haven't watched your deconversion story with Neil yet. It was scheduled at the last minute, and I had other stuff going, unfortunately. How did that go?
It was fun. It was a nice conversation. I ended up on the after party and then the after party, and so I was streaming for like 6 hours.
I think I joined the
But,
after party just after you left, so I missed you.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun, honestly. And you know, I wasn't expecting to go on. It was very last minute. It was like, hey, somebody bailed. Can you join? Can you come on? And I'm like, yeah, okay. Just let me put some makeup on.
Yeah, I remember that part in the chat because I knew you'd have a good time on Neil's channel. So it's
Oh yeah, no, it was a lot
great
of fun.
And he's
I'd
the guy
gotten
I'll
to
be
chat with him
co-hosting with,
before.
so we're looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, no, like definitely. You know, we even had the conversation about like if I were to immigrate to Canada and how like we'd be neighbors.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. Neil, everybody likes to meet you. Hey,
Yeah, I
Peter's got a
think
great
the
idea.
West Coast would be a better place to be in Canada.
Oh, she muted herself. That worked, Peter.
Oh shit! Was
Okay.
I too late? I wasn't.
Yes.
I wasn't
All right,
watching. I was working as fast as I could. I mean,
No, it's fine.
Why did it take you that long to do that?
okay, I'll tell you. I was rendering video with Photoshop, and that took hours. So I had to kill Photoshop first and then restart it. So that's why.
Did you kill the render?
Yes.
All for B. How generous of you.
Yes.
That hurts.
By the way,
Huh.
I was fixing this. As you can see, there's a square around the flag, so I had to.
Is that the QAnon flag?
Yes.
Holy.
That's horrifying.
Now I'm gonna have
And I
nightmares
wanted
of a different
and I
sort.
wanted to put myself in front of it too, so that didn't work.
Well, you can always restart it.
No.
Like-
You want to put you don't want to put yourself there. You want to put Trump in front of it.
I wanted
Yeah.
this in front of it.
That's pretty cool. But then you have to have like another panel where you're showing when Trump was sitting at the desk and the eagle was there and he like flinched away like a little bitch boy.
That's literally I put that on Twitter when this was
Well,
made.
you know why?
He is a
You know why
little
he was
bitch.
scared of the eagle.
You know him
Yeah.
personally. You know him.
You know why he was scared of the eagle, right?
He was worried it was going to steal his hair for a nest.
Because he recognized the eagle was actually Canadian.
Ah,
He's afraid of us socialists up here.
Hey, you know what? I will take Canadian socialism in my country any fucking day.
Oh, it's pretty mild and free here. It's
So-
good.
so
We've got a good situation up here.
so maybe
Yeah,
that's it,
I
Randolph,
agree.
because this eagle is Dutch.
Ah, yep.
So
Now you gotta
And-
find an eagle from one of the shithole countries, then he'll be even more scared.
no, this one's special because his first name is my last name. So
Huh.
not
Nice.
like that.
Why would they call it Tucker?
No, its name is Tucker, not De Tucker. De Tucker means the Tucker, translated into English. So he's Tucker, and I'm the Tucker.
Huh.
So, yeah. So I'm hoping that at least this year it'll be safe enough so I can go out and play with him again because I really missed that last year.
I can imagine. Honestly, birds are great. I
Animals
actually
probably
have
miss you too more than you do them.
I have a Senegal parrot, but it lives with my dad right now because my son is in the I'll love him and squeeze him and call him George stage. Like, he's fine with the cats and he's fine with the dog. Like, but when it comes to my pet snake and my pet parrot, I don't think like he could actually like do some serious harm to them by just being a little too rough. Because like if he pets the cat a little too rough, the cat's just gonna run away, and like he's not gonna actually hurt them. Like whereas the smaller animals, because my Senegal parrot's only like this big, like they're not very big birds.
But the biggest problem is the parrot probably will never forget. And
That
so
too.
Parrot will hate children in general, and your child specifically. So
That too.
might be better to wait until he's a bit older.
Which is the plan.
For the next 80 years.
And like, nah, it won't be that long. But Senegal parrots also, they tend to only bond with one person. Like they'll be friendly, but they have like one or two people that they'll bond with, and the two people are me and my dad. So like even if, you know, even when I hadn't visited for a while, I go over there and he comes right up to the edge of the cage and he tips his head down and he starts chirping like he wants scratches. But no, I love all animals. But my favorite bird is actually a raven. I plan on getting one tattooed on my arm. And
Aren't they so smart? I like them.
And my other favorite animal is a fox. Like, I love foxes and I hope to have one as a pet one day.
Have you heard them at night?
I don't care. They are fucking adorable, and
they don't sound adorable when they're outside fucking.
All right, fair, but if I would have it inside, you know,
Right.
As a pet, not
Oh
outside.
no!
fucking.
When you get a fox, nope, you gotta have a
I
fox
recently-
outside, or you're gonna have pee on every item in your house. I'm talking
It
even on the countertop.
Depends on the kind of fox.
Yeah, there are domesticated breeds, or you
Yeah.
know, there's a Russian breed of fox that they've been incredibly domesticated.
Oh yeah. Black fox.
The silver fox. It's literally what I use on our channel a lot when people start talking about we haven't seen evolution in real time. Yes, we have. The silver fox experiment. They started selecting for more docile foxes and ended up with something that is pretty much a dog, except it isn't a dog.
And that's the breed that I want.
But you can get fennec foxes as well.
I was amazed by that study. I loved it.
They are
those are cute.
Like, my absolute favorite fox breed is an Arctic fox. Not gonna lie. Like, I love the Ice Queen vibe. You know, like I
those
could
are
imagine being
beautiful.
Elsa and having a pet
If you
Arctic
go
fox.
to
Yeah, those are beautiful foxes. They look amazing.
Kitty, go to the channel Save a Fox. There's a young redheaded lady that saves foxes from fur farms, and she raises them up to where they're going to be agreeable to humans, and then she finds them homes.
Aw,
So it's a rescue fox farm kind of thing.
that is amazing. I
Okay.
actually used to volunteer at an animal shelter until one day I had to leave.
That's a terrible security code.
I want to tell you, it's okay, you don't know where the building is. I want to tell you that I muted my headset and muted myself on my computer, and it still came through. So
maybe
my question is, what is wrong?
Really?
What is wrong with the mute button on my headset?
Oh,
Apparently, it's
probably-
It probably just tells your computer to mute you.
Yeah, probably what happened when you hit on the computer, it did the opposite of muting. Then it toggles back and forth, maybe. But we tried to cover
I had
it
hit
by
this
keeping the
first,
conversation going.
and then I hit
if
this
you go
first,
back-
and then I saw my icon jumping still, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I'm not."
we tried
B,
we tried
B,
to cover
if you-
for you by talking.
If you
constantly.
if you go back, it's hilarious. It's us talking as loud as possible to talk
I'll
over
watch
you.
it later. No, but
And there was
seriously,
also
this-
me putting my
this
foot
lady
out.
where I work, she gets toasted ass drunk, and then loses shit, and then calls people to help her. she called the emergency number for maintenance, which is for, like there's a fire, there's water gushing into my apartment, and said, I can't find my key. Fuck me. So I had to call my boss, who got a COVID shot yesterday, his first COVID shot. He's sick as fuck, and I had to bug him.
Aww.
Because he's got all the symptoms right now. He's like, oh, I feel like shit. And I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not driving 40 minutes because this bitch is drunk. She's drunk every day.
She's not the ask Jesus where it is type, is she?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I think she's asked everybody. She's asked me to walk her dog for her because she was drunk. That's weird. I'm like, have you ever read the Fair Housing Act? I'm not walking your dog. Look it up. Not because then I'd have to walk every dog in the building.
Too lazy to walk a dog. Not going to read the Fair Housing Act.
Yeah, no. If my boss finds out, the company finds out I'm walking dogs for what they pay me to do maintenance. I'm going to lose my job. So I'm not walking anybody's fucking dog.
You're going to lose your job.
I mean, besides, it's not your fucking responsibility. It's the fucking pet owner's responsibility.
Seriously. She asked me to download some apps on her phone for her. I'm like, what the fuck am I, your boyfriend? Go back in your apartment, drink some more, go to sleep. My God. Anyways, so I'm sorry about the drama, and I'm sorry you guys had to yell over top.
Well, no, like, I tried to distract. I even lifted my leg up in the air and was talking about how I could put it behind my head, and I was like, but I can't do it without B, otherwise she might get mad that she missed it, so...
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now.
See, I'm muted. What the? So my mute button on my headset must be shit. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Now you know. And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe, yes it is.
Thank you. Finally somebody that fucking says that. I love you, B.
Oh, I'm old. I used to watch G.I. Joe back. Me and my brothers used to fight over whether we were going to watch like Bugs Bunny or G.I. Joe because they were on at the same time.
You know, there's a G.I. Joe YouTube channel. All they're doing is playing G.I. Joe, all episodes over and over again. 24/7.
That's pretty cool. But no, it's like I'll say that, and then people just let it drop.
About 5 years ago. Well, anyways,
well,
I know a few
Rachel,
actors that was in that movie.
Your picture on Google would say that otherwise, so you might want to change that. Here's a good one. Threw his keys into the glass recycling station. That's a bad day.
My dad last summer, he empties loads of cardboard into one of the bins, and he put his keys in the bin with it, without thinking about it, and I had to fucking go through and find them.
Oh my God!
Anyway, I'm going to run away to bed.
What?
Bye, Dave. Thanks for coming, honey. Love you.
What?
Okay, Dave. Have a nice rest.
Dave.
Nice chatting with you.
Dave, I'm going to lose it. Why did you have to go find them?
Because his dad stays with him.
Ah, okay.
Because he loses everything and doesn't know where, and he swears he's never left them anywhere and has never been anywhere and never done anything, and he can't possibly have lost them, so I have to basically retrace everything he's done.
God, so my mom is the same way. Like, there was a time that she was tearing the house apart looking for her fucking glasses, and they were on top of her goddamn head. So now, whenever she does something stupid, I'll just look her dead ass in the face and be like, "Where are your glasses, Mom?"
I'm going to be comfortably silent now.
Good, right?
I spent half a day looking for a pen while holding it.
Honestly, I am the bitch that when I was still a smoker, I drove from Florida to Massachusetts to visit my family that's still up there because that's where I'm from originally. In the car on this 19-hour drive, I lost my lighter 6 times without fucking moving my ass from the seat. So, like, I mean, I'm not one to talk, but any chance I get to throw a little shade at my mom, like, it would, like, I would have it and, like, it'd be, like, in my lap, or I thought I put it in the cup holder, but then it had fallen, like, under the seat, or it had gone down into the fucking,
The problem is you will light a cigarette and not concentrate on where you put the lighter. That's it. You put it in a different spot every single time.
Yeah, concentrating on
Because
one
once the
thing and not
cigarette's
the
lit,
other.
you don't care anymore.
Which is why I now have a Zippo, and I've got one of those things on my belt where I can stick it, so I always know where my lighter is. No problem.
Well, this is what I do. Are you ready? Wait for it. Wait for it. I have
You
3
just have
lighters
a
right here.
bunch.
I have one over there, and there's 2 in my truck. I'm never without a lighter. I am
There you go.
a dedicated smoker.
See, I can never smoke.
Have you thought about teaching Stool?
Never.
Because he's always without a lighter.
No one can teach Stool anything. Come on now.
No. And when he gets a lighter, he burns his hand.
I remember some adage
True
about
story.
teaching
Yeah.
old dogs new tricks, and like dogs are smarter than stools, so
Yeah.
probably not.
He got Photoshop, and I had to teach him how to open a file. He's still
rotten.
pissed off every single time I mention that.
Yeah, and Theo, I made that drive straight through. I only stopped for gas and to pee, and that's it. Like, and I ended up. It was supposed to be almost a it was like a 19-hour drive. I made it in 17, because I was not speeding, like not ridiculously anyway, but I was doing like 5 over the whole time, and most of my driving was done overnight when there wasn't a lot of traffic.
That's
so
the way to do it.
honestly, I set my cruise control at 5 miles an hour over, and I just coasted until I got there and showed up, the next afternoon.
You're going to like Canada. Here, the standard is about
This
10
reminds
over,
me.
but on the highways, you can do about 15 over, almost 18 over, and not have a problem as long as you're not going real fast past people. And you probably will end up stopping all over the place. There's so many wonderful places to see.
I want to visit Canada so bad. Like,
We're looking forward to
honestly.
seeing you. Everybody here, anybody who comes to visit, we're looking forward to seeing everybody.
When I brought my tiny home here, it was
go on.
1,570 miles, and I did 12 hours one day. Spent the night at a campground with some new friends that I had met on YouTube through a tiny home channel, and then went the other 12 and a half, 13 hours or whatever it was. So it wasn't too bad. I split it into 24 hours was too much. And
Yeah.
dragging your house behind you, and you have 2 cats in the vehicle with you.
Yeah, I don't think I could do a 24-hour drive. Like, I mean, even when we
Yeah,
drove
I am
to
so
Texas.
curious.
I could do 18 hours, then I'd need to rest for a bit. I love driving.
What is the square footage? What is the square footage of that tiny house be?
My living area, not counting my bed, is 78. I think I figured up. So from
Square
the
feet?
edge of my bed right here to the front of the trailer. Underneath my bed's up high.
Oh, okay.
Top's right up here.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
tiny.
underneath in the back, I have a garage storage area. It's where most of my tools and my paint and all that shit is. Whatever's not in my truck.
Yeah.
But it's a
Oh,
7
okay.
by 16
Yeah, I
with
was
7-foot ceilings.
I'm always curious.
Yeah. I
Oh,
do
okay.
wish I would have
Yeah.
went up 4
Yeah,
more
so it's
feet
doable.
just so I had more space here. But it's great because I could like sit here and I can get something to drink and something to eat, and then I could just step over there and go to bed if I'm trashed.
Yep.
So that's good.
Yeah, I have a 1959 trailer built into a cabin, and total square footage is 398. And in my
398.
kitchen
Oh, that's pretty good.
is the part that's the little trailer part. Yeah, I'll show you. So, I can reach up there and stir something on the stove, reach behind me and grab a beer in the fridge, and sit there and look out the kitchen window, and just step up one step and get some spices or whatever. Everything is within hand's reach, and just about every part of the house that I have that I set, and it's great, And if you want to get up and do something, you still can.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I kind of wish I would have got another 2 to 4 feet longer. I wish I would have got an 18 or a 20 just because, I mean, really, I put too big of a bed in here. It's my own damn fault. I already had this expensive ass mattress that I bought with an ex. And then she said, I don't want to pay for it. So I took it with me. And after spending $2,000 on a fucking
Mhm.
mattress, I wasn't going to get another mattress. So I just accommodated it.
Oh, right. Yep.
What were the
Holy
dimensions
crap.
of that room?
Oh,
Again?
my whole trailer is 16 feet long, 7 feet wide, 7 foot tall ceilings, which usually they're 6, so I have an extra foot of headspace. But I can still reach. That's the other thing. I can just reach up to the ceiling if I need to.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
you
pretty
don't
cool.
measure that, though. I mean, that's just, cupboard space and wall space. Most people don't measure the square footage by that, only by length and width.
Yeah, floor space. I have about 78 square feet, if I remember correctly.
Everything else is icing on the cake.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really need more than that. I'm good, man. I like small spaces, and I can clean my entire house. Like, people go and scrub their house, and it takes them like a day or two. I do it in like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because it's only this
Yep.
big. It's great.
My
I can
master
vacuum my
bedroom.
entire house in
And I'm
15
sure they-
minutes.
The master
The
bedroom
heating's probably a
here.
lot less. Electricity's less.
Oh,
The
yeah.
mas-
I mean, see, where I live, it's really expensive to live because it's a tourist area. It's a good sized city, but it's the way it's built. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like there's that many people that live here. So because they've kept it historical, there's no tall buildings and stuff like that. So you don't feel like squished. Like, I hate big cities. But here I pay
Me too.
the average lot expense if you rent off of someone is about $400 to $450, and that's everything included. So, I
That's
mean,
pretty
I
good.
had a 2-bedroom when I had a 1-bedroom apartment in Ohio where it's so much cheaper. I was still spending $700 a month. So once
Mhm.
my personal loan for the build, I had gotten a $10,000 loan to do the build itself. So altogether, I have 13 grand in this, and I have a portable home, and that includes I have a electric generator with solar panels, and
Ooh.
I can have this thing ready to
Cool.
go in about 45 minutes. About 45 minutes, I can have the cats in the truck, have everything disassembled and locked up. I put all garage cabinets in, so they all lock. So when I'm driving, nothing falls out.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah, and everything else, like the shelves, I have bins up here on the
Yeah.
shelves, and they're all set into the shelf, so nothing falls out. So I just have to put the cats in the truck, pull all the jacks
you
out,
really
from
gotta
underneath it,
plan on this stuff
stabilize
ahead.
it, hook it up, and I'm gone. Yeah. Yes, I am ready for the apocalypse. You're absolutely correct.
Like, I just feel a little awkward, like, because I couldn't live in that small of a space. Like, my master bedroom, I think, is bigger than your entire living area.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Well, this
you know what
house is
did
like
it to me?
3,600 square feet.
What did it was being a truck driver. And anybody that's ever been in the cab of a typical standard size tractor trailer knows there's not a lot of room. You
Yeah.
have like your seats,
Typical
you step
sleeper.
back 2 feet back is your bunk. Excuse me. So I did that. I was over the road for 8.5 years. And then when I got done doing that, I went to sleep in a regular bedroom. I couldn't sleep in it. I like the little tinier space. I just sleep better in it.
I get a little claustrophobic.
Kind of like having a lot of extra weight from, quilts and shit. It helps you sleep better.
or
Yeah,
weighted
and
blankets. Those are nice.
And I have a
Mhm.
economical
Ooh.
2 economical space heaters. If I need to turn both of them on, usually one does it. I have an
Mhm.
AC, and I vented it out the side where there was already a vent because this is a cargo trailer. They already come with the vents. I just made the hole a little bigger, so I can just hook that up in the summertime and plug in. And
Cool.
I'm actually about to run the electrical in here. Right now, I have everything on those big ass industrial construction extension cords. So they're all like 12 gauge, which is
Yeah.
more than you would ever
I know
need
what you
for
mean.
a home, because typically everybody knows it's typically like 12 to 16 gauge, whatever wire that goes into houses. So I'm about to run the electrical. I just spent like $300 on that stuff. So I'm going to put in a breaker box and all that, and
Wow.
have a pigtail out the back, and then I
Are
can
you doing
plug
all
in
that
wherever I
yourself,
am.
or are you hiring somebody? Are
What's that?
you doing that all yourself, or are you hiring somebody?
Oh no, I do. I've done it all myself. The only
Cool.
thing I've had, my brother Richard helped me
Excuse
install
me
that
for one
window
moment, please.
and the vent for my AC. He built me a really nice vent that I can open and close. So while I'm driving, I can close it, and no
Yep.
rain or anything will get in. And I had somebody help me hold up the ceiling panels when I screwed them up, and he helped me get my bed in here. And everything else I've done myself.
That's awesome.
And
A lot of
I
people
actually-
are afraid to do a lot of that stuff themselves, but it doesn't
Oh,
take
yeah.
much to study it. And
I
go
come
on
from a
home.
family of I come from a family of doers. We just do it if it needs to be done. But I built this whole thing out in 82 hours.
Really leaning into that fucking lesbian stereotype there, B.
I know. You should see. I have I have 2 circular saws, a miter saw, jigsaw. I have all kinds of tools. I'm a toolbox lesbian. It's true.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly?
See. Thank you, Purple. 14 gauge wire for 20 amp circuits. Yeah. I'm putting in a 15 amp and a 30 amp, and running all 10 gauge wire just to be safe because of my AC and everything. I want to make sure I have more than I need.
That's
and
wise.
then, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And then I'm having my brother help me install a pigtail off of my breaker box. So if I don't have power, I can plug it straight in with my generator.
That's cool.
And it's hardwired in. All I have to do is just plug it into my generator. It goes right through the breaker box.
And yes, that is okay to be a toolbox non-lesbian.
Yes, Sandy, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey,
thank you,
think
Purple.
more
I'm
women.
pretty proud of the 82-hour mark.
I
and
think more
actually,
women.
6 hours of that counts going to the hardware store to pick
Oh,
up
wow.
materials. Yeah,
Only
I
6
counted
hours,
6
though?
hours. In
I
on
mean,
it.
for a toolbox aficionado, only 6 hours at the hardware store. That seems like a quick in and out trip. Because I know when I used to go with my dad, who was a general contractor, we would spend so much time at Lowe's.
Oh, dude, you get Richard and I into Home Depot and Lowe's. It's good luck getting us out unless we have if we don't have anywhere to be, we'll be in there for 4 or 5 hours.
That's what I'm saying. So only 6 hours? That's the impressive feat right there. The builder, that's impressive too.
Well,
but
I
only
looked
6
up
hours.
everything online, decided how many I needed. I measured everything out. And the 6 hours was actually the time I was in the store picking out stuff. I would go in the store and be out in 30 minutes. But I had to make 6 trips. Or, well, more than that. So. Yes,
I
82
have
hours
to-
at the hardware store, Purple. Absolutely.
I have to ask B, if you're in a store and you see any kind of tool you don't have already, what happens then?
If I want it,
Yeah.
I'll pick it up and fondle it.
Yeah, me too.
I tell people, walk away, I need a minute.
Yeah, I need to look at it.
Oh my
and
god,
see.
dude! I fucking love tools. You know what? Look, I'm gonna tell you.
This is a hammer drill.
Yeah, I have one of those.
The Rigid brand I'm quite happy with. There's other good brands too. But
I
this
have a Hitachi.
looks like it's got a scope on it, but this is just for making sure we don't over
It's a
drill.
depth measurement.
Yeah.
Yes, it
That's
is absolutely
really
a
cool.
depth measurement.
And this
Any
is
of
the
you
regular
people that
drill.
don't know.
So I just bring them both because then I don't have to keep swapping bits. It's real convenient.
I've got 4.
4 drills.
Yes.
So do I.
4 hammer drills.
Oh no, I have 1 hammer drill, one basic, and both those are Hitachi basic, good sized 20 volt cordless, and then I have an 18 volt cordless, and then I also have an 18 volt impact. And actually, my brother got me those Richard bought those for me for Christmas with a case and every bit I would need and sockets. And
Yep.
I could do anything with those 2 drills, and they're amazing. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I don't
love
care
me
for
some
the power.
Makita right now.
I don't care for the battery powered hand tools so much. For small, quick jobs, they're great. But if you're doing a lot, then you're switching batteries. I find they're just not as powerful as stuff
Nope, not with Makita, baby. I'm telling
Nope.
you, I
They
have
got
found love in Makita. I'll
Yep.
use. I have those. I have 2 batteries and the drill and the impact, and I have to switch them out maybe once a day. but I have 2 batteries.
Yeah.
So I just swap out the battery and I'm good, man.
I still got my first Makita.
I've had better
that
luck with
is
Makita,
now,
but they
I
also
think,
they still
30
go
years
bad.
old. It's,
Wait a
it's
minute, hold
30
on. Hold on, Randy. Peter, it's how old?
30 years old.
That's impressive. Okay, Randy, what were you saying?
Still works and is still one of the most powerful that I have. So
See, I brought up a controversial topic. Everyone wants to talk. Tools.
yeah,
Go, Randy.
bring up tools and
Well, the thing of it is, it takes a lot of just constant, nonstop work with that specific tool in order to wreck a Makita battery, because it doesn't matter which battery you get. There's only so much batteries can do, and when you recharge them, they start to crack in between the cells and everything. And after about 100 charges or whatever, it just doesn't want to charge up as long. It doesn't hold a charge as long, and it doesn't matter which one it is. But Makita, though, is probably the most trusted brand where it does that less.
It's true. It's true. I'm telling you, this is the first set of Makita because I've never want to spend that money on it. You know, I'm a tight ass. So, I mean, like I try to bargain shop for everything. So, yeah, so when Richard bought me these Makitas, I was like, oh my God, why'd you spend? I knew he spent $250 on just the 2 drills and batteries. I know he did. And then the case and the bits and everything else he got me. But I'm telling you, I'm just in love with Makita batteries. They're great.
I know Makita is very good. It's they're an expert.
I tried to get a mail order bride once, but the shipping was expensive.
So you just bought a Makita with a battery? Good idea.
I'm sure you could fashion it into a sex tool at some point, you know, with a little finagling.
One of my friends, when he bought his new place, he was digging up the yard and he found a couple of old rusted Snap brand tools. And so he saw the Snap truck in the neighborhood and he brought it to them and they replaced it. No questions asked.
Yeah, Snap-on. You'll spend $300 on a wrench, but they are literally guaranteed for life. It's true.
Yeah, and one of them was bent and rusted up and they replaced it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is a really great warranty because most manufacturers will try to find reasons to not cover the warranty.
Actually, Craftsman will still do that.
Yeah, Craftsman was another really good brand. I think they carry that in Lowe's now, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, they have,
I'm pretty sure they have.
Craftsman are everywhere.
So I'm glad the tools live on because I like the Craftsman stuff. I just didn't know where to find it until very recently I discovered, they've got this at Lowe's.
And you know what I got excited about recently was I realized that they make the mini Sawzalls. And they're battery powered and you get like short blades, so instead of having that big honking thing, it's half the size.
I got one of those.
You can actually fit it into smaller spaces now.
I have to get one.
I've got one of those that plugs in, and boy, that cuts through rebar like it's butter.
It will.
A nice fireworks show too. I did that on the AA show. I was cutting some rebar before laying cement. And
yeah, I remember that. I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, I hope the sparks look nice.
Yeah, no, they were pretty impressive. I like the sparkageness. It was like fireworks.
Oh, hey, Purple.
Oh my God, Purple, you kill me.
That's amazing.
Cheap reciprocal saw, biggest mod was restricted as I bet. You don't want it to go too fast. Get injured.
Yeah, you get chafing.
That's an old lesbian joke right there, by the way.
What's that?
Making a power tool into a sex toy. Because lesbian, the dykes have to be like power, you know. And yes, I can say that because I am one. So.
Yeah, those men, we tire out too quickly, don't we?
Oh, there.
I mean, honestly, if you want consistency, battery-operated boyfriends are the best way to go.
You know what I do, Randolph, is I just do it right the first time and I'm done quickly. I don't have to last long.
Okay, now this is the Sex Ed show.
Fantastic. Buzz, just because.
You know, me and one of my exes were talking about doing like a convention for straight guys to teach them how to find the G-spot and do it right. And I was like, we could make millions. Because she was smoking. This was years ago, back when I looked really good. But she was smoking hot, so I was like, yeah, I could just have her up on the stage.
Don't kid yourself.
And I could just take care of all the slideshow shit and everything. And those guys would pay a mint to listen to her talk about sex. Absolutely. I could have made so much money off of that.
And
Yeah,
no,
if-
Ox, I'm
yeah,
not
if
bored by the
somebody's-
tool talk.
Yeah, if somebody's good looking, they will definitely have an easier time of finding people willing to pay to listen to whatever they have to say.
Oh yeah, a hot
Yeah.
chick that does yoga. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they
that's
would have
the
listened.
formula sex sells.
It
So
does.
that's how the internet works.
The
Yes.
internet is
Also,
for porn and
I don't know if
animal
you
pigs.
there was a study
You know, and cats
Pigs
is
and
that
animal pigs.
That's the
taken where
original
pretty
tradition.
people-
On
What,
YouTube.
Randy?
the prettier the person, the easier they get the jobs, and the more even like kindergartners will think that the teacher is smarter if she's prettier than another teacher, even
Yep.
though the other teacher has got more credentials and everything. It's just a natural human thing, you know. They just gravitate towards the looks as their first judgment of who's qualified or smarter or anything else. And a lot of people got jobs just based on their looks, and it wasn't even a looks-based job.
Yeah.
And they didn't
Yeah.
even have
Yeah,
That-
it's
to
not like you're a
say
model.
anything to get it. They just showed up and sat down.
And yet, blonde jokes exist.
Yeah,
There
really
are
weird.
That's why I don't
downsides too.
understand why
There are-
I haven't got a lot of those jobs. Because look how good I look. What the fuck? No, I'm kidding.
But there
I
are
mean,
downsides.
that's
There are downsides too. My prettiest teacher was my French teacher, and I ended up not speaking a word French. I was otherwise engaged in class.
You know,
Didn't
my
listen
French
at all.
teacher was hot too, Peter. She
Yeah.
was like, she had big and blonde and
Yeah,
like beautiful
And-
eyes. She was like 5'2". Oh yeah.
and
Yeah, I got kicked out of French
Go
class.
on.
short black skirts, and then she sat on the desk, and it just didn't work for
Yeah.
me. It's everything wrong.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
But
kicked
I mean,
out
there,
of
there
French
is a
class.
flip side to that, though. I mean, as somebody who has been called attractive, like I don't know if being attractive, you know, or if I was attractive enough to benefit from, you know, getting a job, you know, but there was a lot of sexual harassment that I had to deal with, and I had to quit quite a few jobs
Oh, yeah.
because of being touched inappropriately by my supervisors or, you know,
Wow.
my managers. And I mean,
That's
so
ridiculous.
it sucks, you know, like when you're a 16, 17-year-old kid working a job and, you know, you happen to go in wearing a skirt one day and your boss shoves his hand up your skirt and then you just walk out because you're like, fuck it, I'll get a different job because
Yeah.
you don't want to deal with that, you know?
I
Oh.
Or
would
having
have. I
people
would have.
stalk
I
me.
would have.
Like I've dealt with that as well.
I would have punched him in the face first, and then walked out.
Oh no, no, no.
Honestly, I
Not
just
face.
got so used to
Knee
it.
to the
Like
balls. Nope.
oh, yeah,
Knee to the
knee
balls.
knee would work too. Yeah.
Well, the thing about punching in the face, it can leave a mark that everybody will
Yeah.
notice, and he'll see every day in the mirror for the rest of his life.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe if I had on a ring, you know, but no, like, and the whole sleep with me and I'll give you a promotion. And then when I said no, then it was sleep with me or I'll fire you.
Then you said, "Fuck you, I'll find another job again."
Exactly.
yeah.
Pretty much because when
Yep.
and the one was
Unprofessional.
even worse because that guy actually he kissed me. Like he literally forced himself on me. And like I had some really bad experiences working like minimum wage jobs. Like I hate to say it, but my disability in some ways has been a bit of a blessing because, you know, not being able to work, I don't have to deal with that anymore, you know?
Right, exactly.
So there's
You
that.
can be yourself.
You know, when I was running troll accounts on Google Plus, I ran quite a few of them, and the female accounts got a lot of sexual harassment. Their private messages, pictures of genitalia, people proposing marriage, all kinds of crazy stuff. And the men, nothing. The male accounts, nothing. It's just once in a while, once in a blue moon,
Really?
something, but it's usually somebody scamming, pretending to be a beautiful woman. It's always the female accounts. And what was interesting to me, it didn't matter if the character's avatar that I created was to actually look good or to look ugly or something in between. The amount of sexual harassment was pretty much the same. It was mostly dependent on how involved the character was in a community, how often they posted. That seemed to be the pattern, where it seemed to be that there was more sexual harassment would happen. It's that gave me perspective, saying, okay, well, for women being on the internet, this sucks. This is just terrible that this happens.
I gotta tell you, Randolph, I've had lots of like hot ass
That is-
chicks online try to hit on me for money. It happens to us lesbians too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
They'll try
Does.
it with anybody that might give money. Yep, it's true. You know, I have a similar
Musicians,
story,
too,
Kitty,
believe it or not,
not
I've
to that
had plenty of
extreme.
stalkers.
Oh, what, Randy? I'm sorry.
Oh, I've had plenty of stalkers being, the harmonica man, being a musician. I've had people, females following me around the country. Just wreaking havoc everywhere. And even, bothering my family. Even when I went in the military and everything, there was like a whole bunch of, stupid girls say, the Randy's the father of my baby and everything. And, and they actually called my mother up and was bothering her about it. She's like, I don't know who the hell you are, A, and B, he's been in the military for a few years, and he's, playing blues in the South and everything, and he hasn't been home for a couple of years. So how the hell could he get you dumbass knocked up? Stop calling.
Is that why you go for the Freddy Krueger look now? You kind of look like Freddy Krueger right now.
Yeah, you kind of do.
Like, I need to sew him
You're
a
awesome.
sweater.
But I mean, your skin's nicer, for real. Your skin's a
Yeah,
lot
like
nicer. Yeah.
whatever dermatology
Well, yeah, a little
Freddy's
bit.
using. It's good shit.
And the lighting, everything. You look like Freddy Krueger, but the intelligent one because you're wearing glasses. No.
It's that L'Oreal night cream.
Mm.
That's the lighting. It's the
Well,
hat,
do you know,
it's everything.
this is actually way too hot. I just figured to put that on for a second.
That was a neat look, actually.
Do you remember the old, I have a beret coming in the mail any day now. But you remember the old the Army overcoats? I got one of those, and I went down to the gas station the other day, and I had this, them little boxes of Marshmallow Peeps.
Mm-hmm.
I had one of those, and I fixed it so I can tie it to my belt and everything, and then I walked in there, and I'm like, hey, peep show, and yeah, they had a pretty good.
Oh, what are we gonna do with you?
But then I got this hat too, to do the skit, because I want my other channel, the Shedding Mysticism. I want to do like a Vincent Price kind of thing, walking down the alley and talking about shedding mysticism out of your mind, and that's what my
Nice.
my other channel's all about. So I kind of want to do a little skit like that, and but my camera lady has been sick the past few days, so I haven't been able to have a cohort in crime. But
Oh, yeah.
better things coming.
Yeah. Oh, Kitty, that's what I was gonna say. I looked at you and remembered. So when I came out of the closet in 2001, I was working at a gas station. I was a manager, and this guy owned like 3 different gas stations, and I had worked 2 full-time jobs, and he saw me at his other gas station and promoted me. So I was all excited about it and everything, and oh, cool, I got a promotion because I worked so hard. So then he would come in the office. I'm doing the paperwork in the morning and getting the financials straight, blah, blah, blah. And he'd come in the office and he kept putting his hand on my shoulder. I didn't think anything of it because I come from a big Italian family. Everybody touches each other. I didn't think anything of it. So I came out, and when I went to come out, I chopped my hair off about this short. And he started teasing me, saying, hey, Butch. Oh, nice haircut, Butch. So after 2 days of this, finally I said, oh, you finally figured it out, huh? I was fired the next day.
Ooh.
Oh, damn.
And he said it was because, check this out, I got fired because I was too brash.
Right. The angry woman trope. The angry lesbian.
I'm too brash.
Right.
I'm too brash. And I said, oh, you mean honest and forthright
You mean,
and adamant about how
I'm
I
never
feel?
going to sleep with you.
Yeah.
Like,
But-
that's what it was. You were
well,
never
it
going to
gets
sleep
better.
with him.
He had the area manager fire me.
Oh,
he
didn't have
came
the
in,
balls to
told
do
the
it
guy to fire
himself.
me, and left.
He was a
Oh,
coward.
he didn't have the
Pussy.
balls to do it himself. Oh, that is
And the guy
fucking
that
Howard.
fired me
priceless.
was this like really nice, like he was a Christian guy. He was a really nice person, and he comes out there and he's looking at the ground while he's firing me. And I said, Jim, this is bullshit. And he was just like, well, I just have to fire you. Like he knew it was trumped up shit. He knew it. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that name. He knew it was drummed up shit. But yeah, so there you go. That's one of my.
I'm starting to grow hair because of it.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
I actually
my
have
lack
only
of
been
God, I'm so
fired once.
What
The only time I was ever fired was not even my fault. It literally, not only were they doing like illegal practices by having a minor clock out at the time I had to stop working and making me continue to work off the clock. So they're doing this. And then they would add the hours to my paycheck later, especially if it, me as a 16-year-old, if I ended up working more than X number of hours, they would have to wait for a time that I didn't work as many hours so that they weren't like having me work too much.
Right.
So I did a lot of working off the clock at that job. And the only time I ever got fired, I got written up because I was supposed to leave at 10 o'clock. And the closing concessionist, it was at Regal Theaters, was sent home early. And she was over 18. She was supposed to stay and close. And I was expected to close. And that night it was literally everything went wrong. Like the first popper, the light bulb shattered. So glass all on the popcorn. Can't use that. So I go to open the popper on the same side because it had two sides of the concession. And the agitator inside, which looks like a swastika, by the way, in case anyone didn't know, it would not spin. So I had to go across. Yeah, it would not spin to agitate the popcorn. So I had to then go across and open up a third one. And then I had to clean all of those at the end of the night. And I'd gotten down to where I had one left to do. It is after midnight on a school night. My mother literally comes in and drags me out of there. And I got written up for this. And the manager who wrote me up actually was having a habit of writing me up for stuff that like I didn't actually do wrong, because her boyfriend was another manager, wanted to sleep with me. Now, he's this Will Ferrell looking fucker who's in his 30s, and I'm 16 at the time. And I'm like, he's made advances to me. I'm like, nope. But she was jealous that her boyfriend wanted to sleep with the 16-year-old. So then after I got written up for the not closing concession properly, even though they had me working off the clock for hours, she fired me using that write-up as the justification. And then there was another write-up where the till was off, I think like $1, but it was a till that 3 people were working from, and she chose to write me up for that. And then they were just like, oh, you got 2 write-ups, so you're done. So yeah, that was the only time I've ever been fired.
That's beyond jealousy, that's envy. Now, jealousy is something like you want to possess something that somebody else has. Envy is that what you want to destroy, what somebody else has. And that's usually the case when it comes to good-looking females. It's just, and I bet you after that, you were probably called every dirty pejorative that there was for a female persona. You were probably the W word or whatever, I'm not going to say, but you know what I mean.
Oh no, I've
Bitch,
been called a
whore,
whore, a slut, a bitch, a cunt,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I've been called all those things.
So, thing of it is, so have I, and I liked it.
Yeah, she kind of was. And she was snotty, too. She had, like, the superiority complex, Like, she thought she was better than everybody else. Because she was, like, upper middle class. So, like, her family had a little bit of money. Like, they weren't wealthy, but they were well off.
Oh.
And so she had that, looking down her nose at everybody thing. Yeah, she was
So
a
she
bitch.
made it past the 4th grade, and she just knew it.
That's great.
But yeah, so I've only ever been fired from one job, walked out on several because of harassment. I quit one job because of harassment, but it wasn't actually my bosses harassing me. There was a guy that kept showing up, and they wouldn't do anything about it. Like, they wouldn't even walk me out to my car at night when this guy would be waiting for me in the parking lot. I had to have friends come and meet me at work and walk me out to my car. And I'm like, if you're not going to take my safety seriously, why the fuck am I going to stay here? Like, this guy is literally showing up every day that I work. He's coming in multiple times a day, you know, because he actually worked at the auto parts store that was like next door. And so like then he would literally, you know, by watching me, see when I would get off, and he would show up like hours after the fucking auto parts store had closed. He's standing outside of work trying to chat me up as I'm walking out to my car, and I'm like, this is not okay. Like, I'm sorry. And the manager's like, well, I've got tills stick out and everything. I don't have time to walk you out. And I was like, this is a fucking safety hazard. I am not happy. I am not comfortable walking outside alone.
Let me tell you something. I am so serious about that every time I've been a manager and I've had some young girl working for me, which is a lot because I always was a manager in retail except for a couple places. Anytime they got bothered, not only did I kick the person out, kick them off the property, and if they came back again, I'd get a restraining order so they weren't allowed on the property anytime she was working. And I would walk them out to their vehicles. I don't give a fuck what I was doing. I don't give a shit what I was doing. I would walk them out, and every single one of them said, thank you so much, because they knew damn well I'd beat some motherfucker's ass. I'm not.
Thank you. Like, that's all I wanted was one of these guys to walk me to my car.
It takes 2 minutes.
I mean,
2 minutes.
Walgreens.
It's good for their health.
Not a big deal. I always did that too.
Getting up to walk every half an hour when you've got a job that you're sitting around is actually good for your health. So there's lots of benefits.
Well, most of those management jobs, you don't sit much, Randolph. Trust me. It's like an hour or two for paperwork a day.
It's still a change of pace, which is nice. Though.
Yeah, no, but it's more than anything. It's just taking care of your fucking employees.
Yep.
Like,
You have a responsibility to them just like they have a responsibility to you.
Yep.
I would rather work at a strip club because they at least take the safety of the girls seriously.
Oh,
like,
fuck yeah, they do.
Say that.
I have a friend who is a stripper, and for a while she didn't have her own car. So I would, on some nights she would need a ride home. So I'd head out to the strip club about an hour before closing. And, you know, I'd sit there, I'd have a drink that was on the house, just one because I was going to be driving, and I would enjoy the show for an hour. And then when it was time for everybody to go out, I got to go because, you know, my friend was a dancer there, and management knew why I was there. They let me go in the back with the girls while they cleared the place of all the guys before they would let the girls go outside, and they walked them to their cars. And for my safety, they just put me in the back with the girls. And then, you know, I'll tell you something, going to a Waffle House, an IHOP, or a Denny's at like 4 a.m. with a bunch of strippers, that is a fucking fun experience.
I've actually done that. I had a friend that was she wasn't topless, but they were strippers and dancers. And she was legally blind, and that's why she did it, because she had 2 kids to pay for. And they hadn't advanced enough to have surgery done on her eyes yet, which, by the way, about 10 years ago, she had it corrected. So she's good now. But she was born with a messed up eye, and she was legally blind, so I would go and pick her up. And we would go out to one of the after party bars, because I lived in Orlando, Florida. Something's open somewhere.
I'm in Orlando right now.
Ah! So you know.
So I know.
Watch out for the rednecks outside of town. Anyway.
Do you guys...
yeah, so...
go ahead.
Yeah, so we'd go out. There was a bar down the road that was a gay bar. And it was called, like, White Nights or something like that. Is that still around?
I don't know.
White something or something nights. Anyways.
I haven't really gone...
We'd go there and watch the
bars
drag shows and shit. This is before I ever came out. I was still hiding in the closet at that point, but I was screwing the stripper, just so you guys know.
Good on
in the closet. And in the bedroom and in the kitchen.
See, if a guy made a claim like that, nobody'd believe him.
Nope.
I mean, I've made out with a
Believe
stripper.
me.
I haven't had sex with one.
Harmonica Man.
But yeah, no. The club that she worked at, it was right down the street from MCO. So near Colonial and Cimarron.
Oh, okay. I know where that is.
So It was full nude.
That's not the one that
I
looks
believe,
like
but
it,
they had
right?
pasties. No, it was the one next to Hot Dog Heaven.
Okay, but not the one that, because the one that looked like, they have a, look, everybody who doesn't know, never been to Orlando, Florida, they have a strip club there. I'm assuming it's still there. And it looks like two big giant tits on purpose. Nipples, it was painted pink for I don't know how long. And then
Wow.
they painted
I've
it like a
driven past
darker
that, but I
red,
don't-
and then, I don't know. But it's obvious it's a strip club. It's literally two boobs.
That's hilarious.
Uh-huh. That's the one that anybody with any class and didn't want some kind of an STD did not go to back when I was in Orlando. And that was
This
was
reminds me, the
89
psychology
to
of it all.
2002.
I need my batteries. I just
Go ahead, what?
The psychology of it all reminds me of that old cartoon with Daffy Duck when he's just bouncing off the wall
Yeah.
and just getting completely stupid. That's what a lot of cis males do. Oh my God, pretty girls, can't hold myself
Boobs.
back. I've even, and my little sister, is a pretty girl too, and she's always had problems working in the gas stations, or whatever, get flirted with constantly, and she always had me come pick her up, and somebody was always after her, and I'd had to go fight or whatever. And but that's just, I don't know what it is about the cis male persona that 3/4 of us just can't pull our heads out of our ass and stop being the apes that we used to be. That's not how
Honestly-
shit works these days. You can't just
Right.
disrespect another human mind.
I think part of it comes down to our culture in the United States. Like, it's incredibly prudish, where like even a breastfeeding mom is considered some like gross or indecent thing. And a lot of cultures, around the world have a much more relaxed view about nudity and, the naked human form. And I think by making it so taboo, by making nudity, especially a nude woman, such a taboo, like we're feeding into this whole thing, and just kind of perpetuating that whole mentality of, it's something that it's so...
It's shameful.
I'm trying to find the right word. Like, it's shameful, and like,
Yeah.
those urges or whatever that
Yeah.
you feel like to, basically overwrite the will of another person. Like, you feel almost encouraged by it, by the way that they would slut shame someone or bring up the fact, well, this woman's had more than one sexual partner in her life, so like, why would we believe that she was actually sexually assaulted by this guy? I mean, it's like it just feeds into.
Well,
And I
there's
really hate the
caveats
term
to
rape
that.
culture.
It's
Yeah.
They should visit Germany.
Yeah.
In Germany,
there are caveats
it's
to that. Now,
complete.
third world, there's in third world there's more rape and incest. In some first worlds, if they are more prudent, there's more rape and incest. But if they have more freedoms and more education and understanding, it's it's pretty good. Well, like in a lot of European countries, scientifically, they've got their shit going on, socially and everything. But
In
and there's
Germany,
not a
it's
lot
complete-
of, and there's not an excessive amount of rape.
In Germany, it's completely normal to go into a public park and see people lying around naked.
Yeah,
It's-
because
We've got a
because
place
they're
here
not
like
freaking
that.
out about it. They're not making it it's a societal norm. It's not horrible and offensive. But my thing is if a woman can't breastfeed, then a man shouldn't be able to walk around without his shirt off in public.
You know,
Because it's just it's the same thing with mammary glands added in. It's
That's an
ridiculous.
interesting point. Like, we've got a place here at the University of British Columbia, UBC, that there's a small section of the beach called Wreck Beach. Well, it's been growing over time, but it's becoming more popular. But people are completely nude there. And anywhere else in Canada, on beaches or anywhere, there's anybody can be topless. Literally anybody. So it's not sex specific. And a number of years ago in 3 different provinces, including this one, British Columbia, there was a challenge because police officers had arrested a woman for being topless on the beach. And that became a charter challenge, a human rights challenge here. And our Supreme Court our provincial Supreme Courts decided to favor our rights and say, yeah, these laws can't discriminate against a person based on their sex. So therefore, women can be topless in public here. Just as much as men can. So it's really a non-issue. It's the other provinces, it hasn't been tested, but everybody kind of knows that, who knows about the law, that if it gets challenged, it's not going to happen because there's already precedent-setting law in the other provinces. So
there you go, Kitty.
And for some reason, Kitty was in jail.
Yeah, Kitty was jailed just now.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Probably
I think about that too, but
I hope that's not debtor's prison.
I tried going for a walk last summer without a shirt on, and I got called Mongo and hit with a group of bananas. So I don't know what that's all about.
Well, if you need a free supply of bananas, you know what to do now.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to hear something terrifying, Nevada is currently in the works to pass legislation to allow corporations to have their own governments, and have powers of a county.
See, I heard back in the 80s that Dow, the big chemical company, wanted to have its own island declared as its own country. That's pretty scary if you think about the kind of testing they're going to want to do on people and animals with their chemicals. Yeah. So if they have their own country, they make their own laws, they make their own justice
whatever the fuck they want. Yep.
And I don't know where that went. As I understand, it didn't end up getting approved, but the fact that they were looking for that, I can't help but wonder if maybe the same people behind that might have been involved with Nevada making this kind of law that you're just talking about now, Kitty.
It's terrifying when you think about it. I mean, I don't know if any of you have ever played tabletop role-playing games, but one of the whole premises behind one of them called Shadowrun is essentially you have corporations are like governments in and of themselves, and you belong to the corporation. They pay you in corporate money that you can spend only on corporate, stuff, and they literally own you.
So basically Nevada's copying Saudi Arabia and that big rich, what is it that they just call another country, Dubai. It's basically Saudi Arabia, but with nicer buildings, the way I see it. They have that there. The employers take people's passports, and then they're stuck there as slaves until they get the passport back whenever they decide they want to give them back.
Yeah, so. or kill them, because that's...
Yeah, I've heard that happens too.
A lot. Yeah. If they're not satisfied, they can end up killing you, and
it's legal. They just have to say you're an infidel.
And we could see debtors' prisons coming back too, if corporations get that kind of power.
And for people who don't know, in Canada, a long time ago, well over, I think, certainly more than 50 or 60 years ago, maybe a bit longer, there was just the end of the debtors' prisons, but we did have them here. And the idea is that if you owe money and you go to debtors' prison, the only way you can get out of debtors' prison is to pay back your debt. So you better have somebody on the outside to help you, or you're going to die.
How the fuck are you going to pay it back if you're in prison?
That's not the capitalists' problem. They don't care. This is the scary thing that Kitty's highlighting here about corporations becoming governments. Totally immoral, totally unethical, totally wrong.
It's
totally
scary.
A recipe for human
Child
rights violations.
Also,
and this really needs to be opposed big time.
I agree.
And the first way to oppose it is to bring attention to it, which was why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I have many issues myself that I try to talk about, and everybody thinks I'm full of shit because, well, it's the norm. And I had a show today about, is the norm good? Is normal good? You hear about when your parents tell you to quit acting up in the store, act normal. So what they really mean is act good. But then you get to an adult stage and you see the norm, everybody's doing something, but it's not good.
Here's
and
the thing.
And then if you say something, you're the abnormal person.
No, normal, it's not dictated by by what is good or what is right. Normal is dictated by the majority. Had Hitler won, then it would be normal to be anti-Semitic and to put handicapped people to death. That would be considered normal, but that would not be good or just. Like, it is might makes right is what defines normal, and that's why I fucking hate the entire concept of normal. Normal people scare me, and I will tell you why. Because it is always the one, oh, he seems so normal, but he's got 4 women chained in his basement as fucking sex slaves for 20 years. No. I want to see your weird up front and on display so I can see if your weird plays well with my weird. If it does not, I will avoid you. If it does, then welcome aboard, you know?
Yeah. Also, you don't want
that's why
everyone to be
that's what I had
exactly
the
the
topic on
same.
there. Exactly.
Yeah, that happened. Some guy had his whole family all chained up in his basement. And wasn't that in Australia?
There was one in the U.S. There was Ariel Castro. He had abducted women, and he had them chained in his basement for 20 years. And, like, one of them got out one day. He had children with them, and I think it was, like, Minnesota or Michigan. It was one of those states. Like, everybody in the neighborhood, they were like, yeah, he came over to barbecues. He seemed, like, super normal. He seemed totally fine. Like, we were shocked.
Is
that
that
he
the
had
guy
these
that had,
women.
like, 5 women in his basement?
I think it was 4, but his name was Ariel Castro.
Yeah,
I remember reading an article. I remember reading an article about the Catholic
one
Church.
of them did a big thing after that on it.
I remember seeing an article not too long ago about the Catholic Church. Some of the priests had some of the nuns chained up in the basements of some of the churches.
That's horrifying.
Man, I want to be
look at what they
Catholic
did with
again.
children too, right? Oh my God.
We had something like that. I think it was 2 years ago. Some religious guy, some kind of stripe of Christian, bought a farm and went there with his kids. His kids weren't allowed outside, and Dad was having his way with the daughters. So stuff like that just still happens. It's horrific.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Rape is horrible. I think rape of children is even worse because as traumatizing as it is for an adult to go through that, a child going through that is even worse. But I think the absolute worst of all sex crimes is raping your own fucking child because your child looks to you. You are their whole fucking world. You are literally the one being they trust more than anything in the world. So not only are you traumatizing them with this violent and brutal and disgusting act, but you are the person that they look to love and protect and shelter them, and you fucking just throw that.
Yeah,
that is
the power dynamic is more severe. Yeah,
makes you want to kill them, doesn't it,
very
Kitty?
upset about that. Yes.
So I think it was in 2000 when someone asked me to go on a children's camp, and this was a camp where they paid €1 for an entire week. So it was for people who didn't have any money. We had the fireworks disaster back then. So we had a couple of children that had literally lost everything in the fireworks disaster. We had children from parents who were in jail. We had abused children, all kinds of stuff. There was one little boy. He was he was 10 years old at the time. And he was raped by 2 12 and 13-year-old girls. And at some point, they were teasing him with it in the camp, and he didn't want to talk to anyone. I ended up being the one, because he was in my group. I ended up being the one. He locked himself in the room where all the group slept. And the guy that slept in that room with those children, one of the guys who were running the camp, so every room had an adult in it.
Right.
He could get in there. I managed to get in there, and had a really long talk with him and got him to the point where he came out. And to this day, he will still, when he notices me anywhere around town, he will scream and he will come up to me and say, "Hey, remember that week at camp? That was awesome. That was an awesome week. So
That's
those
great,
things will stick with you for a really long time. And when then something good happens,
kid.
that will stick with the kid for a really long time. So, and that's
Children
one of
learn
the
what
things.
they live.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm actually really proud of. It was just an hour, but I'm still reminded of that hour today. There are a few more kids that still recognize me when I'm out and come up to me, but this one is special.
Yeah.
Because
That's nice.
that took a lot
Yes, stands out.
of talking and letting him talk to get him back out.
Yeah, but he'll never forget that for the rest of his life. Absolutely.
Nope.
I remember adults that treated me good when I was 4 or 5 years old. So absolutely, you're gonna remember that shit.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, I don't have like I'm weird when it comes to like capital punishment. Like I don't have a moral obligation to removing people that are dangerous to society from society like permanently. However, I have a moral obligation to doing so when you're not absolutely certain. And I think that we go for the death penalty far too often. And there's so many people that have been either killed or released, with exoneration, exonerating evidence. But when it comes to sexual crimes, especially those against children, I am in full support of capital punishment for that. Like, I think that you're a certain kind of depraved to, hurt a child in that way. And, like, just looking at the statistics for, children with disabilities or children that are neuroatypical, and what the higher likelihood of them enduring molestation and sexual abuse will keep you up at night, especially if you are the parent of one such child. So I'm fine with killing rapists and pedophiles, with capital punishment. But, and if we know, it's like if Dylan Roof, the guy that shot up the black church, he got caught in the act. If they put a needle in his arm, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Because, you have the right guy. They literally caught him in the act. So, it doesn't bother me. But the fact is if capital punishment is ever used against someone who's innocent, then it's just state-sponsored murder. And we can't condone state-sponsored murder.
Right.
Okay, so here in Holland, we don't have capital punishment. What we do have is that you become the property of the state, which means that you will be locked up in a mental institution for life. My take on all of this is, if you hurt a child, you will hurt that child for their entire life, because probably something is going to be there for the rest of their life. They might recover in part, maybe even for the most part. That if you then kill the one who did it, for them it's over. And I want those people suffer and take the consequences of their actions for as long as possible. So for that, I prefer the system that we have here.
Now, the castration has been proven not to work, by the way. They still victimize people, and they'll just use objects instead of their own body parts, but because those people are sick. But I posted a link that I have a solution to the capital punishment problem where innocent people could possibly end up getting wrongfully convicted. So the idea is that the judge assigns a minimum number of years for prison, and then normally if there be capital punishment, then it would still be a life sentence, but the minimum years before they can apply to take the death penalty. So that way, the prisoner has to actually make the choice. So if they're innocent, they're obviously not going to take that choice, and they'll be able to fight with the rest of their life without having to worry about a death row deadline.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
No,
I posted the link if you're interested. Take a look. It's a very short read.
I will be.
I put it into
checking
the
that
chat
out.
for you, Randolph.
But she said she put it in the chat for you.
Oh, great, thanks. Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. And honestly, I do think there's a conversation to be had that, you know, I think that it's entirely possible that, you know, well, first off, like the whole on the castration thing, like, yeah, because a lot of that it's not about, I mean, some of it is about sexual fulfillment, but most of it is about power. Like rape is more about power than about sexual fulfillment. And I think that goes across the whole spectrum, not just with children or with adults. I think it's everywhere. So you're right. Like castration's not going to do anything because there's still that power dynamic. But
I have a solution for that, Kitty. Cut off their hands too.
I mean,
I don't have any problem with that. Fuck them. I feel like they just destroyed a life. I don't care if I destroy them.
I honestly would not
cut off
lose
their
any
damn
sleep
hands
over
and
it.
their dick and just let them fucking know what that's like to be handicapped for the rest of their life because their victims are.
I wouldn't lose sleep over it. Like as I was an adult, well, I mean, I was a teenager when I was first sexually assaulted. So like I still carry the scars from that. And like I have been sexually assaulted by 3 people in my life. So and that's actual rape, like being groped or grabbed, like I lost count. So like I cannot be impartial on this, and I will not lose any sleep over the dismemberment or maiming or injury to rapists and pedophiles. Like I don't have any emotional like empathy or anything. Like I can't waste any of that on them.
That's a common response, and this is why justice systems are specifically designed not to allow the victims to choose what the punishments are.
Yeah, because I would not be able to be objective. Like I could not.
Then you get people like me who like to tie people up spread eagle and then make a little tiny slit in their lower abdomen and then invite a possum along because they will eat the victims inside out, and it'll take a long time.
Vicious, but I like it.
Capital punishment.
That's like right up there with the bamboo torture, you know? Like you strap them over some bamboo and just wait for it to grow through them.
Doesn't take long. Bamboo
I'm a
grows
little
really
learned with these things, a little too much, actually.
But I do actually, and this is, you know, a touchy subject, you know, obviously, but like I do want to say that I think it is possible that, you know, people are born with attractions to minor people, like that there's something wrong with their brains. They are just wired to be attracted to them. And I don't want to demonize people that are born that way as long as they've never acted on it, because like you can't control how you feel, but you can control how you behave and you can control your actions.
Exactly.
And the minute you cross that line from I don't care if you have those feelings. Like that is entirely
it doesn't mean you
beyond
have
your
to do
control.
it.
But if you act on them, you have now ruined a life, you know, or maybe many lives. And I think that there needs to be a distinction there, because I think that part of the reason that we end up seeing so many lives ruined by this is because we stigmatize people with these attractions so that they don't seek help and counseling that might keep them from ever actually acting on it. And if we can have this difficult conversation, and it is a very difficult one to have, especially for anyone who has been assaulted, or especially for someone who was assaulted as a child, but I think it's a conversation worth having because it could lead to fewer victims overall, fewer survivors overall, if we treat this as a medical thing where they are just wired differently, and through counseling or maybe medications or group therapy, check-ins, having a sponsor, like whatever it takes to keep them from preying on a child, because all it takes is them slipping up, losing control one time, and they fucked everything. So, I mean, and I do not envy them. I have all the pity in the world for, you know, people with those attractions that have never acted on them. Once you act on them, then you're fucking dead to me. Like, fuck off, die, I don't care.
Yep.
But again, like I try to have understanding and empathy and compassion and sympathy for people. And I do have a lot of sympathy for someone because I am bisexual. Like I am attracted to men and women, and I didn't choose that, you know, that's just how I am. And I don't know if maybe that's why I can see it in this type of perspective, because I know I didn't make the choice to be attracted to who I am attracted to. So I see it as a logical conclusion or logical to make the assumption, however you want to word it, that they are not making a choice either. But, as far as what they feel, but they do make a choice on how they behave and the actions that they take.
This subject is so interesting, and I mentioned the name Robert Sapolsky in the chat earlier. I don't know if it came through in the public chat. If you can help me with that again,
I put it out.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Robert Sapolsky is somebody who studies biology, neuroscience, and psychology, and other things. He's a professor, and he's done a lot of interesting, has a lot of interesting YouTube videos talking about capital punishment and the prison reforms and things like that, and talking about how people their minds develop. He's an interesting one to look into to get well informed on this subject. It sounds like, I think most people here probably are, but if you're not familiar with his name, he's an interesting one to listen to. I've found there's a lot of people out there with a lot of views. He's not pushing religion at all. He doesn't seem to mention it. He's more interested in the pure scientific aspects of it all. So I find he's quite a gentle voice to listen to, and he's talked about, I think, kind of a little bit of evolutionary psychology as well, which probably factors into a lot of this. No.
And I agree with Kitty. You have to have programs in place where people can go to and not being vilified by the people who are there.
I agree.
Actively helping them.
Rehabilitation is called.
Yeah, with their feelings, so they can keep it restrained and not act out on them.
And it's got to be a hellish existence. I'm sorry, it has to be forced celibacy for the rest of your life. Like, if you are only attracted to younger people, or then we can have the conversation of like AI sex robots and whether that might help or hurt. It's a very dark and long rabbit hole that we could go down.
One of the points of confusion that comes up a lot is there's two terms out there. Like, one is pedophile and the other one is child molester. Child molester is one who's actually taken action, and pedophile is one who's only thought about it. And the reason why it's important to have awareness of this distinction is because if somebody's a pedophile and they want to seek help, they should be able to seek the psychotherapy that they need without being reported for it. If they've taken action, that's a separate thing. They've committed a crime that has to be dealt with. But if they've not committed the crime, then they should have that right to seek help to.
Well, we actually have those laws here, Randolph, where if you go in and talk to a therapist, they can't tell on you unless you have harmed someone, or unless you're going to, like, if you go in there and say, oh, I'm a pedophile and I've never done anything, but I'm raping a kid tonight, then they have to tell on you. Otherwise, they are not allowed to. And they can't be used in court or anything unless you...
Now, I've heard that the Patriot Act can override that, and I've also heard that there's differences from state to state. It's not really a national standard, and that's a problem. Am I correct on
there are variations, but it is pretty much national that people have that privacy. Just look up HIPAA, the HIPAA Act. It falls under HIPAA.
Oh, that's good.
You can't reveal anything about a doctor or any kind of medical personnel. I was an EMT and took a picture with a baby when the parents said I could, and the company said if I shared it, I'd get fired, even though the parents were okay with me taking a selfie with the baby. So it's
now, if they took the picture and they put it out there, that's okay. That's the fine line there, right?
Right. I was a medical professional. I was not allowed to do that.
My cousin
but
was
there are a lot of laws
director
to protect the here. Go ahead, Randy. What?
My cousin was a lab director at the hospital, reporting anything to the doctors when it comes to blood, urine, whatever. And he told his father-in-law, "You've got COVID," and they fired him because he jumped the gun and didn't let the doctor tell him. He just called his father-in-law up and says, "Hey, you got COVID." And this is a big deal. He should have had the right to call him up and say that for that specific thing. But the hospital is just looking to fire him to begin with.
But if
so
you're
they use the HIPAA regulations.
He was at work when he called him. He was at work when he made the phone call. No,
he was home later on.
Oh, okay. They shouldn't have been allowed to fire.
The thing of it is,
if you're on the clock, then you're in your
professional
capacity.
And stuff.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't be able to fire him for that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just weird. My county's weird. We haven't even issued any vaccines yet. We got a couple months to go before they start doing that shit here. I guess potato farmers and hunters just don't need to exist like everyone else.
No. All right,
but,
guys.
Sticking with the topic and everything.
I'll let you finish that, and then we're gonna go.
I like younger women myself. 40, 45 years old, can have kids, but not in the house. I'm not picky. That's all I had.
45 years old.
Honestly, I just think that our healthcare system in general needs work, and especially mental health care. And I think the prison systems need work too, because right now they're too punitive. They focus more on punishment rather than rehabilitation. I think a lot of people can be rehabilitated with enough therapy. Although, fuck pedophiles. Yes. I don't think they can be rehabilitated, honestly. Or the ones that have offended, that have hurt, like child molesters. I don't believe that they can really be rehabilitated. But again, I'm not entirely objective.
There was a study done on pedophiles, and when they look at kids, they see adults. That's how fucked up their brains are.
When it comes,
they don't
to prison,
see children. If you ask them to draw a picture of a child, it'll look like an adult.
Wow. When it comes to prison systems, I'm actually proud of the one that we have in the Netherlands. We've ended up with not enough criminals to fill them because of how we deal with the criminals. So we now rent them out to Norway and Belgium. Because
I've actually heard that before. Yes, I know that to be a fact.
Cool. That's a great result.
Yeah,
Whereas here, I think we have the highest incarceration rate per capita.
Yes, and that's also
that's where we're number one.
And that's also because judges are allowed to own part, if not all, of the prison. So they're pretty much if they send people to prison, they're going to make money off of that.
Yeah, the private prisons. Yeah, those have to go. That's just asking for civil rights to be violated.
That's modern slavery is what's going on with those places. That there's no capitalism does not belong in this kind of thing at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
You want capitalism?
Correct.
Fine. Have it well regulated and for consumer goods. You want to choose between an iPhone and an Android, or a Samsung TV or an LG, go for it. Capitalism, free market, all the way on those things. As long as there's safety regulations so they're not going to blow up. But when it comes to people's lives, there should be no profit motive whatsoever.
True capitalists do not like regulations. They despise them. It's a roadblock for them. Makes their job more difficult, making money.
Because capitalism is amoral. It has a fiduciary responsibility to make money.
Medicate.
In some cases, it's immoral.
I'm going to cut this off because we can keep going.
Last thought, because with capitalism, they'll decide to make decisions based on money rather than on what's right. So if it costs less to pay the fines to dump their chemicals in the river than to dispose of them properly, the capitalist will just dump them in the rivers and pay the fines.
Absolutely.
That's the problem with capitalism.
Yep, that's what they do. You're right. And then they get a tax break. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you for everybody in the chat, especially you people who have been here forever. I don't even know if I've been seeing the same names for a while now. You guys for coming up on the panel. I appreciate all of it. I'm going to try to do 2 open mics or something like that, maybe 3 a month. So everybody's welcome back. Yeah,
I'm glad I made it.
Yeah. Me too. Thanks for shooting me the link.
Awesome. Thanks.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hit everybody up every time, and just whoever wants to come in can come in. So I love you guys. Take care of each other, and everybody be happy.
Be safe and be well.
Yep.